Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talking About Balls. I am Justin George, joined as always by Kyle Price. Kyle has a professional mic now. He is
Hey,
officially ready to go. What's
I've
going
grown
on,
up.
dude?
Not much, man. It's been a while. Was it 2 weeks now? 3 weeks now?
Two. I think just two.
Okay, two. Not much. I'm kind of recovering from a burnt weekend where my arms, my legs, my face, everything. I took a whole new color this past weekend down in
That'll
Kentucky.
happen. Yeah, you went down there for the Valhalla PGA.
PGA Championship, yeah. I think it's gonna be the last time they host it down in Kentucky, just because it was a shit show. I mean, it was a great golf tournament, great time. Um, the course itself, though, I think I walked a total of probably 18, 17 miles
Oh, I'm sure.
from the front of the entrance to the back of the course, 1.2, 1.5 miles just to get from one to the front to the back. It's insane. And the hills. I mean, if you've been to Kentucky before, you know that it's just hills everywhere. So no matter what ground you're standing on, you're on an angle, up, down, back, right, whatever. It's just I'm a big dude and my goal is losing weight, but this was a pain in the ass. So
Oh, no better way to see what kind of shape you're in than by walking a PGA Championship for a weekend.
right, exactly. But the experience is fun. I mean, it's just fun to go down there, golf a different golf course. We golfed at this course called Neville Mead, I think. It's a link style course, which if you don't know golf, a link style course means not very many trees, lots of bunkers, just kind of wide open, but very challenging. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we went to the tournament. I got real fucked up Friday night. I think I called my wife. I also threw up, so it was all a good time. Overslept Saturday morning, got my door pounded down like someone from ICE was trying to kidnap me. And
From someone you were with?
yeah, Jory and Dave.
Okay.
Yeah, like they were the police. They were still drunk in all regards. They were still drunk, so it's okay. And then we walked around all day Saturday. So Saturday we chose to walk and see every hole so you could experience it. Sunday we show up and we just found a hole that we liked, sat and just watched golf the entire time. So everybody went through.
Did
We
you do a
got
lot
to,
of that this over the weekend
what's that?
with the guys looking for a hole you like?
Yeah, exactly. It was mostly a dirty hole. We got interviewed on TV down there, so it was kind
Yeah,
of
I saw
cool.
that. That was cool. Did you guys have any luck finding the video clip?
No, so we're kind of annoyed, right? So we're just walking by, and the guy's like, "So tell me the story," and I'm so out of it. I'm like, what story?" And he looks at our shirts. He's like, "Well, clearly your shirt." So we tell him, and so he does the whole segment. I've got the video. I'll send it over to you. But someone recorded it while we were being recorded. But at the end, he gave Jory the card, his business card, and said, "Hey, just give me 3 hours, text me, and we'll go ahead and send you the video." We texted him. He never reached out. He never got back to us. And Jared,
His producer is probably like, "We're not airing this."
well, we joked because it was live on TV, right? So it was
Oh, it was
live.
live.
Yeah, because Jared actually caught the tail end of it. And that's where he screen grabbed Dave. If you saw Jared's post, but he screen grabbed Dave, and then we had people walking up to us like towards the end of the tournament on Sundays, like saying, "Hey, we saw you on TV." We had some random old guy walk up and like literally his intro to the conversation was, "Excuse me, you guys aren't that bad, are you?" And we're like, "What are you talking about?" And mind you, at this time, we're just super tired and like we're burnt, so we want to get out of there. He's like, "Oh, I saw you guys on TV this morning. So mediocre golfers, are you guys really that bad?" We're like, "Yeah, pretty much." I mean, he's like, "That's great. That's a hell of a story." But and then Sunday night, basically didn't do anything. Went home Monday, golfed at a different golf course right outside Columbus. Came home late Monday afternoon and Monday evening. I went to work yesterday. So that's kind of been my last 4 or 5 days.
Not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah.
Well,
What
you
about you, man?
survived the weekend.
Survived. Yeah, barely.
Really not a whole lot. Just doing the dad life. Hung out with Greg Sherwood, friend of show, aka Guardian Guy Greg.
Oh, you're the one that did it to him, huh?
Hey, the accident happened after I was long gone. So we hung out on Saturday night. So Greg had, for those of you that don't know, because I don't think I've ever talked about it, friend of show Greg Sherwood, he decided to do Guardians Fantasy Camp, which is of course where you go down to spring training, or the site of spring training, I should say, and you get to play baseball with former Guardians players. You get to do basically everything. That's right, Devin knows what I'm talking about. You get to do everything that the Guardians do in spring training. You get to stay at the same exact field. You get to use their facilities. Basically, you're treated like a baseball player for a week or whatever. He went down there. Greg dominated. He was the technically the Rookie of the Year, but because he did so good, they didn't give him the Rookie of the Year award. He won the MVP award. His team won the championship. He was super pumped by winning, or I take that back. You get to play regardless, but by being a part of the fantasy camp, your team gets to play at Progressive Field. And they had a date set, everything. We were all pumped to go. Happened to be on the same exact day that Greg is in another event because of somebody that he met at fantasy camp. And the second event that he was a part of was a local Cleveland, had nothing to do with baseball, local Cleveland musical act, if you will. So basically, you are put into a raffle or a drawing or whatever, and you are randomly picked with 3 other musicians to be a 4-piece band. You have a drummer, a bass player, guitar player, and then a random instrument. Greg is a random instrument player. He is a trumpet player. So a drummer, guitar player, bass player, practicing for like a month or so. And Saturday night they had their time slot draft. So the show goes from like noon till midnight, basically, in 15-minute increments. They're each band gets a 10-minute set, tight 10 minutes. They don't fuck around. And Greg had a baseball game that was going from what did he say? Like basically 1 o'clock till 3 o'clock, give or take, or I'm sorry, noon to 2. And he had to race from there to get to the venue to perform because his band was drafted to be the 3 o'clock band that performs that day. So he was like, whatever, that works. My game should be over around 2. That gives me enough time to race over, warm up a little bit, and then perform. The very next morning, I get a text from Greg that goes, well, forget about the 8th because I broke my arm today playing baseball, first game of the year. I was like, dude, that fucking sucks. I feel so bad for him. So he is hurt. He's on the IR. His season is more than likely over for baseball. He will not be partaking in the Progressive Field game. I imagine he can't play a trumpet with one arm. I'm really not sure. I would assume.
I've seen people do weird shit with band instruments. It's possible. Someone could put it to his mouth and he could just use his fingers. That's what she said. But
I mean, I've seen people play the trumpet with one hand. Like you can still do that. It just depends on which hand he broke. Like if he broke his,
we don't know. We don't know what arm he broke. Okay,
I didn't ask. No. So if he broke his right arm, obviously that's probably out of the question. I assume he hits the keys, whatever they're called, with his right hand. But if it's left, maybe. I should send him the video of Travis Barker when he was with Boxcar Racer when he broke his hand. And he was literally drumming like this. He had one hand in a cast up in the air, and he was literally drumming with one hand. And you wouldn't even notice that he only was using one hand. So it's possible. But shout out to Greg, Guardian Guy Greg, as we call him around here, our baseball savant. He is on the IR.
So did he ever respond back? Is he going to be able to play a video game next week? Those are the important questions.
No, he ignored that son of a bitch. He answered everybody else's question, but he left me hanging. Really quickly, talking about balls, unofficial sponsor. This episode is brought to you unofficially by Mango Margarita Cutwater. I've never had one before, but I've heard they're very good and they're very strong. Adam, what's going on? 12.5% alcohol. Let's give it a whirl.
You going to make it to the end of 2 hours here?
12.5? Are you kidding me? I used to pound buzzballs, bro. All right. I think I'm going to be fine.
We need to bring that. We can't wait to bring that tradition back, my friend. Cannot wait to bring that back.
Well, I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, I probably should have done it for the Cavs making the playoffs, the Cavs winning a playoff series, but it's just not the same.
No, we've kind of affiliated that with the Browns victories and stuff, and I got a feeling that next year those victories are going to be hard earned, so those buzzballs are going to taste pretty good.
Yeah, let me tell you guys now, they have a long shelf life, so stock up now because buzzballs are going to be hard to find come football season. So get them now, get them while they're hot.
And we have yet to hear back from a buzzball affiliate. So if you're watching,
speaking of people that ignored
me,
what the
fuck?
Women owned. I'm trying to promote this great company and be a great person, and they're fucking assholes. I don't know. I would love to just send me a box. If they sent me one box of buzzballs, like, hey, these are on the house. Thank you for the support. I'd be so fucking happy. That's all I needed.
Yeah, send us the box. Let us drink them, and then let us suggest different flavors. Because there's better flavors we could probably come up with as a collective than what they currently have, right?
They've come out with a few new ones. I forgot what they are, but I've seen a couple ads for some that are kind of intriguing. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I've not seen any new ones. I'm curious what these are now. I think I've had every flavor, so if there's new ones, I need to try these.
Let me look it up. I swear to God, I saw it. Shit, there was one that was spicy. It was like jalapeno something, pineapple jalapeno maybe.
Pineapple. So like
it was a margarita.
Play on the chili mango one that they have currently.
Yeah, let's take a look. Buzzball flavors. Oh, looks like we have some new ones.
I like how crystal clear our photos, our videos look here. It's like it's amazing.
Nuts. It's amazing. Nuts to me. I have to tell them my birth date. That's stupid.
Can you just put in old fuck? Is that possible?
I just don't get why they're trying to like, oh, well, you know, we don't want kids getting drunk on our website. That doesn't make any sense.
Adam, I agree. A Browns themed Buzzball. What would the flavor be though? Orange something? Like an orangey type?
Steeler Tears.
Steeler Tears. It's a good name, but what would the flavor be? You have to be orange colored.
All right, we got some new flavors here. We have one that I've never seen. Passion fruit martini. I would fuck that up. I've never seen that.
Passion fruit martini. Okay.
Cookie nookie is a seasonal flavor. Pineapple jalapeno is a new one that I've seen commercials for, whatever. Watermelon chiller.
Oh, look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Strawberry Rita, we know that one. Cranberry, we know. Lime, horchata, interesting. That's a coffee type drink. Hazelnut latte. Coffee. So yeah, that sounds all right. Those are pretty decent.
Well, now we have to go on the hunt. What's that clear white one? Horchata?
Horchata. That's like milky.
Like a milky fireball?
I think it's a Mexican like coffee or something like that.
Like a milky fireball. I like it.
Yeah, I would drink that.
Can you order these online? That's the other question.
No, they do tell you what stores sell them, but they don't tell you the flavors.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but can't win them all.
That's a lot of balls. I mean, it's nice.
I mean, yeah, I figure if you go through George's search history, there's probably nothing but balls on there anyway. Yeah.
He had to go down 3 different links to find the right balls. So, did you mean big hairy balls? Oh, like you meant buzz balls.
I can only imagine what popped up just as soon as he typed B, and it was just like, let me are you, my lord. No, I'm just kidding. I love George. But yeah, no, Buzzballs has a lot of new flavors. I'm looking forward to trying them before the season start or during the season. I mean, talking about Buzzballs, it counts in the preseason too. I expect you guys to do them. I will be gone. I didn't even think about this for the show. 2 weeks in August. I leave the give or take around the 5th, and I come back the 16th, give or take. I will be in Germany.
What's going on in Germany? Oh, company trip?
Work trip. Dave, what's up, man? Thank you for checking in.
Are you hanging out with your fellow Nazis? I see, huh? That's nice.
Yeah, they're shipping me off, and I'm gonna, tell them what went wrong in WW2, and we're gonna go over some things.
Do not fight a double-sided war. That's how you lost. Just focus on one side.
Yeah, I mean, I plan on letting them know that they fucked up back then, and I'll be like, here's what I would have done a little differently.
Are they going to allow you to do some sightseeing? Because there's a lot of stuff over there to go see and go do.
Yeah, I'm excited. I am, again, tentatively right now scheduled to be there for about 2 weeks, and that'll be work purposes. I'll be there the 5th through the 16th. That's a Monday through the next Friday. In terms of when I'll actually be flying there and flying back, I don't know that information yet, but I will be absent from America for 2 weeks in August, which is exciting.
Can you take Tara?
She would have been able to go with me if she wanted to, but she would just have to like pay her own way. But 2 weeks is a little much, so she is not going. So I am flying solo, which normally not a big deal, but now with the baby, it's like 2 weeks away is a long time.
Yeah.
But I also look at it now as I'd rather do it now where she'll never remember that I'm gone. And
Daddy's going out to get milk. He'll be back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm going to come with probably like an Amsterdam hooker wife, and it's going to be a whole thing when I get back to the States. But it's all good. It's nothing Tara's not used to.
Sexually transmitted diseases don't stay there. Trust me.
Me going out for a couple of weeks and then coming back with a new hooker. It's just typical week in the life in the George household over here.
That's great, man. That's an experience, though. You're gonna have a good time. That's great.
I'm excited. Yeah, actually, the main person that I'll be hanging out with for those 2 weeks, who I'll be kind of training under, he was actually just here in the States last week in Cleveland, and I got to spend a lot of time with him. So that's kind of how we were able to set it all up. So he was telling me all about like how I'll be shadowing him, and I will be in Hagen, Hagen. That is where my company's parent facility is located. I do not speak any German. I can say nine and Scheiße. That's pretty much the gist of my German. I was thinking about doing whatever it's called. I don't know, the app that does different languages.
Just Google Translate. I mean, that's been so updated, and there's so many AI stuff now that you can actually use to translate in real time. But they also have the Google Translate has the picture option, where you can take a picture of a sign or something and it translates it into English, so you can actually read it like you're supposed to.
Oh, I'll definitely be doing all that. They do all speak English. Like that's the one really good thing is everyone with my company, they all speak. The only thing though is I want to learn words just to make sure they're not talking about me behind my back. Like if I don't have my phone out, if I'm not ready to do the translate, I want to make sure I can hear them.
Are Americans thought of highly in Germany? I don't know what I know in London that we're kind of looked down upon or whatever, but fuck them,
Probably
they lost
not.
anyways. But just curious.
I just assume every country outside of America, they just call us
Americans.
Stupid American pigs. Like that's like their thing. So I just assume
fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame them. I don't really like anybody outside of America, so why should they like us? But no, I'm excited. I am. And the other cool thing too is that because the way my work is connected all over the world, they send in people from Germany for a few years at a time to kind of come in and train for their positions. Then they go back to Germany. So I've worked with my company now this is my 17th year. So I've made a lot of friends, met a lot of people that I still keep in contact with on social media who are back in Germany after coming to America for, a few months, a few years, whatever. And most of them all still work with the company. So I'm very excited to see all those people.
It's awesome, man. Cool. I'm jealous, kind of jealous. Always want to go over there. So much history over there that I would probably spend time looking at everything you possibly could, but that's great.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited for it. So that'll be happening at the end of August or beginning of August, which is perfect because that means I'll only be gone for a preseason game or two for the Browns, which don't get me wrong, I'll be watching it on my phone, even though it'll be tough because there's a 6-hour time difference, but I will be keeping up with the Browns games and it just won't affect my regular season schedule. Yes, Daniel still works there, Tara. Daniel, there's Christine, Sven, Matthias.
Sven.
My old boss, Frank, is over there now. The guy that I just hung out with last week, Jean-Marcel. Pretty exciting. Oh, yeah, dude, if I was there for one of the German football games, then I would absolutely be going to a game. I think that would be awesome. Yeah, Tab live from Germany. I hope you guys like when I do the show at, let's see, I'd have to do it at like your guys' time, 1 o'clock, if I was doing it from 7 to 9. So it wouldn't work for me. Or if I waited for Kyle to do it at 7, it would be like 3 a.m. So no, I'm good.
However, you could do some like video updates from the Tab account to kind of like check in at certain things. You got
I definitely will. I just
get a soccer game in while you're over there. I'm pretty sure they happen every day in Europe somewhere. So
I'm absolutely okay. I'd rather fly over there and stare at a wall. But we'll see. Yeah, we could do a pre-recorded one. We'll see. I don't know. We might just take those 2 weeks off. We'll see.
Pre-recordings are fun, but then we always fuck up and say stuff that obviously it's meant, you can tell it's pre-recorded. So,
and the other thing too is that timing, the way it works out is doing a pre-recorded episode during a preseason. Like, God forbid, there could be like not saying the Browns. Obviously, I'm not trying to jinx us, but there could be like a horrific injury or something like that in the NFL, and then we're just going to do a normal show. Like, hey, everybody, we're excited for football to start. Meanwhile, like Justin Jefferson's had his leg amputated or something. Like, you never know. Crazy shit happens. So yeah, we could maybe do something, or worst case, like Kyle said, I can make some TikToks. I got to get our Talking About Balls TikTok page going.
Yes, let's get some international followers. That'd be great.
We're trying to go global here. We're trying to boost this show, which also breaking news. That's why this episode is called The Changes, because not only are the Cavaliers probably making changes in the offseason, but the Talking About Balls boys have decided we're going weekly, everybody. I know we used to do the offseason. We would do every other week, but we decided we're going weekly because we just have too much shit we want to talk about.
Not going to lie. I thought you were going to drop something else. Like you haven't talked to me about this. So this is some breaking news. Okay. Now we're on the same page.
Yeah, no. Everything I'm talking about, we have discussed. So
okay.
No, we're good.
I was like, shit, what other changes are we making?
And then I'm like, and we have a new host. Someone just slides in. No, it's just going weekly.
It's Tara.
We
Yay.
just decided that obviously we love doing the show. We love talking sports. Even if it's a slow like sports week, there's plenty for us to talk about. I know Kyle listens to sports talk. I listen to sports talk literally every single day, multiple shows. I'm constantly changing stations. I have Sirius Radio. I listen to sports talk on there. And I'm like, these guys literally do a show every single day, even when there's like next to nothing happening in town, and they cover multiple hours. And I was like, I think we could do once a week. It should be fine.
Yeah, I agree. And plus, with us doing it from home, it makes it easier.
That's the other thing too.
I was just out cutting grass 30 minutes ago. Got done, came in, sat down. If we had to go to a studio, I wouldn't be able to get everything I wanted to get done at home.
Right. So this works out perfectly. I figured we could go weekly, and again, we are flexible in terms of if something comes up, it's no problem. We'll just say, hey, no show this week. It is what it is.
Yep. Perfect.
And the other great thing is, no offense to anybody at our previous station that we were with, but we have every night of the week now where if we needed to do a show on a random day, we could just talk to George and we could make that happen. So there's been times where, and I totally understand with when we were at Redline, I'm not knocking it at all. There were shows at one point, like every night of the week. So it was really hard. If you couldn't do your show on your night of the week, you were kind of fucked, or you'd have to go in at like an abstract time, pre-record, whatever. But now we could literally just be like, hey, George, we can't do a show tonight. Or, this week. So maybe Sunday evening, we're going to do a pre-recorded one. And, if George is available, he could even set it up in advance whenever we're ready. It's only up to us. We're not relying on other people. So.
Right. And if we have to go short one night because there's really not much going on, we could do an hour and a half. We have to, right. Or we can go longer if we need to on certain nights, because we tend to talk a lot. So,
yeah,
flexibility is always key.
Yeah. And we're happy to do it. And very excited to announce that we are going to be going weekly.
Maybe some new guests coming in. We have the ability to bring people in now since we do it on this type of setup.
We can bring in guests. We're gonna come up with some new segments. I kind of changed up my look today in the background there. You can kind of see some shit. I put some hats there. They're kind of blocked, but I got a Browns hat, a Guardians hat. I'm trying to add a little bit of sports stuff because this is my upstairs office. I know I talked about it before. I have no sports stuff up here except for my hats. That's literally it.
I still have a fake tree here, and then you've got
the great setup. Every time I look, I'm like, oh, is this guy down in the Bahamas or is he in his kitchen? I can't tell right now.
It's my professional kitchen setup look, bro. It's all right.
I like it. Yeah, you got the trees blowing in the background. I'm like, man, I didn't know Kyle moved to Florida. Here we are. Yeah, they are not ready for weekly talking about balls, Adam. But I look at it as, obviously wishful thinking, but, maybe talking about balls can grow into something. When we initially started the show, we were just two guys doing it for fun. And, every week, we'd fuck around. We were using different apps. We were having a good time. And then we went to Redline. And Redline, I really enjoyed our time there. We were able to do things that I never thought we'd be able to do. We were able to do live shows. We were able to have like a full desk set up. And that's really where I was able to see the greater picture. And then what George is doing with us right now, too, with just you could do cool backgrounds. You can do edits, you can do videos, there's so many different options to do a cool show. And we're simple guys. I don't need anything crazy. I know there's shows out there that have like nonstop flashing graphics and they're telling you, like subscribe here, do this kind of shit. We're simple. I just tell people, like, if you don't mind, we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that shit. If you guys want to review us, if you guys want to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, whatever, tell a friend. That's all it takes. It's super easy. If you like our show, if you enjoy it, follow us on whatever social media platforms you like. The more the merrier for us. Again, subscribe to our YouTube page. Just easy shit. We're not asking for anything from you guys. We do this show for free.
Plus, we've seen certain shows that try to do too many colors on one screen at one time, and it doesn't always work out in the way they think it's working out.
Did not, and they also didn't have. They were also hosting with a mirror apparently because everything was backwards, and we've seen it all. Not to name names though, but I think
no naming names, but simple is the key.
Somebody might know what I'm talking about.
Simple is the key, and how we do it. Like, look at this setup right now. Like, we're looking at it right now. It's perfect, clean, everything organized.
Yeah, works for me. The picture is perfect. The sound is perfect. If only George could figure out how to get me the audio. That's the next step we're working on.
Baby steps.
We haven't done a show in 2 weeks, so I'd like to think that George spent those last two.
Maybe it's going to give out business cards.
I have a bunch of talking about balls business cards that I
Tara
always forget about.
Tara talking shit in the basement right now.
She's right around the corner, but yeah, she's talking shit. She's an asshole.
You know what? Like Howard Stern does. You're gonna talk shit. Get on the microphone, Tara. He brings his wife in.
Never. She would walk in here trembling before she got on the mic and the camera. But yeah, no. Again, super easy. We're just trying to see where this show can take us. We're trying to have as much fun as possible. And I do have business cards, Tara, and I always forget them. And then you call me out on it. But do you remind me to bring business cards before we leave? No, didn't think so. So it's just
50-50, you know.
It's just as much your fault as it's my fault. Speaking of Tara, wanted to give a shout out. We didn't record last week. Mother's Day was a couple of weeks ago. First one for Tara. And happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. And yeah, no shit, you're not my manager. You'd be fired by now. You're really bad at it if you were my manager.
Happy Mother's Day, Tara.
But yeah, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. But Mother's Day was pretty good. Got Tara some cool shit. Went out to eat. Hung out with Teddy basically the whole time. Pretty good. Good times. That's all I've done the last couple of weeks. Really, nothing. I've been watching a lot of sports. I hit that fucking huge parlay last night that goddamn do I wish I would have bet a little bit more.
You would have just put another zero behind that bet you put, you know.
Dude, I'd be putting this kid through college. Now I really wish I would have bet more money. But when I do those lottery ticket ones, I only throw a couple bucks because I'm like, I've missed out on so many of them. It's like I'm not going to go crazy because what are the odds they hit?
On the ones I've hit, I only bet like $1, $2, or if I have like 67 cents left in my account for that day, I'll just throw 67 cents on it. But I've hit a couple, but no, I mean that's what they're called lottos for, right?
I like to have 5 or 0 as my last number increment in my account, like in terms of cash. So like I want $55 or $50, whatever. I want a 0 or a 5, and yesterday I was trying to balance out some money. So I'm like, all right, this one I'll do $1.50. This bet I'll do $3. Hit them both. And had I bet just a couple dollars more, the $1.50 bet was like plus 4,500, and it won me for $1.50. I won $70. And then the $3 one was like plus 1,100, and that one won me like $36. So pretty good day gambling yesterday. Just again, kicking myself, wishing I would have bet more. But tonight's a new night, so we'll see what happens. We have a game starting in about an hour. I can't wait. The Western Conference Finals are going to be
taking
awesome.
The 70 and putting it all in Denver, right? All on Dallas, right?
Well, 100%. I'm backing Kyrie. I have Kyrie going for 50. I have Kyrie. I'm just kidding. I would never do that. I do have
time lag. Kyrie dropped 50. I don't think he ever has.
I have over under on the amount of times he says the earth is flat at 1. So we'll see how that goes.
Hey, to Kyrie's credit, I feel like the last year, you haven't heard much from him. He's kind of stayed in his lane and accepted the role of being Luka's Robin to Luka's Batman. You know, it's good for him though. You know, good for Kyrie.
Kind of. And then he just came out the other day and said that he's so happy to be in the Western Conference Finals because he's not. I forgot the exact quote. I'm more than likely misquoting. I don't think he was this harsh, but he said something about basically how he's not in LeBron's shadow anymore. And he made another comment. Like he had like a snarky press conference where he's like trying to be funny, but he's still like acting like he's better than everybody. But it's like, dude, I don't understand his hatred for LeBron. Like you are nothing without LeBron James. LeBron James won you a championship. Like you guys work together. Don't get me wrong. Kyrie was phenomenal.
He did have that shot. I mean, without LeBron, you're not there to have that shot, but Kyrie kind of sank that one in there for us.
I don't know. His attitude against LeBron it's weird to me. And then the fact that since he's been away from LeBron, he's accomplished nothing. So like, I don't know, to still talk about LeBron and throw shade on him like that is just, I don't know, weird. I don't know.
What's funny to me is I don't know if you've seen Kyrie's new like NBA photo, like his the one they show across the bottom. He's starting to get gray. He's starting to look more and more like his character he played in Uncle Drew.
Yeah,
I think another year or two he's gonna be full gray.
He's like kind of I won't say letting himself go, but he like doesn't care anymore. Like he lets his hair kind of grow out to be like a little afro, and like like you said, he's got grays. He looks a little homely.
Yeah, he looks like the street baller. You know, the guy who doesn't give a shit. Just goes down in Harlem and just balls against a younger generation of kids. You know.
Well, hopefully he's not putting his balls against young kids, but we'll see what happens. I don't know.
Nowadays, anything.
I don't know what he does in his spare time. He's a weird dude, but I don't think he's that weird.
So that's it. Nothing else going on other than Mother's Day and whatnot. Nothing else exciting.
No, this weekend will be pretty good. I'll
weekend?
recap everything. after the weekend. Like Saturday, I've got a cookout to go to with some friends. Sunday, we've got people coming over to meet Teddy for the first time. Dan and Laura, the Gross Closes.
Nice.
They'll be coming over to meet Teddy. Family cookouts.
At least they waited a day or two to come over. It's good.
Yeah, it works out. And then on Monday, I have my first tee time of 2024. I'll be out swinging the clubs. We have a babysitter. We have our friends Josh and Maria. They asked us to go golfing with them. They wanted to do 18, but that's a little much. I haven't golfed in 6 months. So I said, I'll do 9 because I feel like I'll be very tired trying to do 18 and I just won't be having a good time. So I'm going to go with 9. I think we're going to Big Met, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's what they said. So yeah, we're going to Big Met, I think, Monday afternoon. So very excited to get out there and swing the clubs because I have not golfed in months and it's been killing me.
Might want to get to the driving range and we get some of those zips out of the way, or are you just going to go cold turkey right into it?
I'm just winging it. I'm totally winging it, going in cold.
I respect that.
I figure the best way for me to shake the rust off and just get back into the swing of things, pun intended, is to just go out there and do it. I don't think a driving range is going to help me. The Memorial outing. So which one? So I know, Devin, you were in one with Tara last year that I couldn't make it to. And friend of show, Steve Baylog, he has one coming up in August that I believe I've talked about, but I could be mistaken. His is August 17th. His is actually the 17th, which is conflicting. Hopefully, I don't know when I'm coming home because I am in Germany until at least the 16th. So I might not be able to make his tournament, which is a huge fucking bummer.
I would love to do it too, but August is full of wedding after wedding after wedding. That every Saturday we have a wedding going on, so I won't be there. That's Jess's uncle Moose, who you've met before, I believe. He's getting married that weekend.
Oh, they're finally tying the knot, huh?
Tying the old knot. Yep.
No shit. Hey, old people can find love too, man. Don't ever count yourself out there.
Old people can find love too. So all you single folk out there, you got a chance.
You're never too old for love. Don't give up. Don't give up on love, no matter how old you are. No, honestly, I've met Jess's uncle Moose plenty of times. And yeah, Devin, if I can make it, if I'm in America, I'm down to do some golf tournaments this year. I want to golf as much as possible. So
we got to get you to some of the outings we do over at Mallard because those are always fun. They have the Red, White, and Brew coming up in July. Maybe you want to do that. You go out and they obviously golf early in the morning, but they have like a keg in every other hole where you can get free beer. It's all part of the price. But yeah, and then you have prizes at the end of it. You get golf balls, golf clubs, golf bags, stuff like that. And they feed you at the turn. And they give you like a full steak dinner at the end too. So it's kind of cool. It's at Mallard. It's not a great court. I mean,
who's in it? And Devin, I'll definitely do that. I'll get that information to you as soon as possible.
Whoever wants to be in it. I mean, no one's really officially in it, but I mean, it does happen.
No, I mean, is it like an MGA event or like?
No, it's free willy. It's Mallard Golf Course runs it, so they run the whole thing. So we usually get like a notification 2 weeks out. If you want, I'll shoot you the link once it comes out. And if you want to jump in, we'll jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. Send me the info. I just wanted to make sure that Robert wasn't going to be there because if he's there, I'm not. I'm just kidding.
Robert, no, I'm sure. I don't know.
I don't think Robert's watching yet. That joke would have been so much better if he were here, but it is what it is.
He's quietly stalking in the background. But a lot of the MGA guys try to get into it just because it's fun to get in there and all hang out. But no, I mean, whoever wants to do it can do it. So it's a good time.
Cool. Keep me posted.
Plus, you can't pass up beer every other hole, though, right? I mean,
no, I mean, you kind of had me at that where you said, yeah, there's a keg at every hole. I'm like, I'm in. With that being said, we have just passed the half-hour mark, and it is time to talk sports. And I wanted to start off just to show how giddy I am today and how happy I am because you guys know my disdain for New York sports teams, especially because I have friends. And I don't know, this probably makes me a bad person, but my friends are from New York. Any friend that I have that roots against Cleveland teams, or not even roots against because they're not from Cleveland, so they have no reason to be Cleveland fans. I totally get that. But anybody that's not a Cleveland fan, I openly root against your team. I want to know that. Excuse me. For instance, Adam, you're a Michigan guy for some reason, but Cleveland everything else. To each their own. Totally get it. I don't really care about.
It's why him and Chipper are friends.
Right. So. Yeah, they get along. They found the one thing that's in common. They're like, I just threw darts one day and picked a city. But in all seriousness, I totally get it. Ooh, August 10th, Devin, I will be gone. I leave I'm probably leaving like the 3rd or 4th to get to Germany, and my time there starts on the 5th. So I will not be in the country. But like my friends are from New York. They are born and raised. They love the Knicks, the Jets, the Mets, all these shit teams. And just watching them lose makes me so happy. I love my friends, but I want their sports teams to just fail. I want them to feel the sadness that I felt as a Cleveland fan for most of my life. So I love when their teams lose. And this is where, what's up, Don P? Thanks for checking in. This is where I asked George to find us some celebratory music because I couldn't be happier. I want everyone at home, grab your drink, raise a glass, let's have a little fun. The Knicks got fucking eliminated from the NBA playoffs. I don't know. Is there music playing? I can't hear anything.
No.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. So much shit because they beat the Cavs last year. The Knicks are so fucking miserable and their fan base is so miserable. They had to live off of last year's success, and they got eliminated by a 6 seed. The Indiana Pacers took them behind the woodshed, put them out of their fucking misery in Game 7 in the Garden. You are a 2 seed. You're at home. You have, I know he hurt his little wrist, but you have little, I call him Bilbo Brunson because he's a hobbit. He's a little fella.
Bilbo Brunson. Nice.
So Bilbo Brunson, you have Bilbo Brunson out there who Knicks fans are telling everybody is a fucking superstar. And he's so amazing and this and that. And what happens? They get eliminated at home, Game 7. I agree, Don P. I fucking hate the Knicks. They are done. They are bounced. They had all these excuses. This guy was hurt. This guy was hurt. Meanwhile, the Cavs played without Jared Allen. The Cavs played without Donovan Mitchell for a few games in that Boston series, which they eventually lost 4-1. We didn't even have a chance to talk about that yet. I didn't even think about that.
It's been 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been literally a week to the day that the Cavs got eliminated, but
didn't the Guardians just swept the Mets too, didn't they?
Oh, that's coming. Don't you worry.
Oh, okay,
that's part of this whole celebration. So
okay.
The Knicks are living off last year's success because what did they do this year? They got to the second round just like they did last year. This time they lost to the 6th seed. Last year they were outmatched last year. And Stephen A. Smith every day talking about how great the Knicks are. I was sick of hearing about it. Now they're fucking gone. They're eliminated. I couldn't be happier. I am so thrilled. And yes, ESPN didn't get the New York Boston. I was worried about that. I really think that they were looking forward to that.
They would have nutted themselves. I mean, think about it. That's just huge.
And if you go back to the beginning of that series, and again, I'm not a Pacers fan by any stretch. They're a direct rival of the Cavaliers. They got screwed in the first couple of games. There were some horrible calls by the refs. And I thought, oh shit, the NBA is being pretty fucking obvious that they're trying to do a Boston-New York series. And I'm really glad it didn't happen. But I'm just more so happy that New York got eliminated because I fucking hate them. And then, as Kyle mentioned, today, the red hot Cleveland Guardians completed a 3-game sweep over the shitty, lowly Mets. And the Mets have the highest payroll in all of baseball. The Guardians have 1/3 of their payroll. The Mets are over 300 million. Guardians, not even 100 million. And the Guardians swept them 3-0.
Third best team in baseball right now, right? Record-wise, at least. Yeah.
And they are also, again, fun fact, I forgot their exact payrolls, but the Phillies, the Dodgers, and the Mets all have like $250+ million payrolls. Well, I'll take the Mets out of that because the Mets aren't even close to this win percentage. But out of all the teams with 30+ wins, I think it's like the Yankees, the Phillies, and the Dodgers all have $200+ million payrolls. Guardians, $99 million. Right there with them. 32 wins, I think, today after today's game. I forgot exactly, but they're definitely over the 30 plateau. And I love it. I couldn't be happier for the Guardians.
Wow. So the Mets have the highest, right?
Yeah. 310 or something like that.
305. Yankees 303, yeah. Dodgers 249, Phillies, Astros, Rangers, Blue Jays, Braves, Cubs in that order, and Giants to round out your top 10.
And the Guardians aren't even close.
Nope, they're in 28th out of 30 with 93 million.
And they have 30+ wins. They are the hottest team in baseball right now. They are on a 7-game win streak, I think.
Yep.
At least.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, I mean, it's crazy that this offensive has come together so well underneath the new manager. And is it the new manager? Is it the type of baseball he's playing or he's coaching? I mean, our bullpen's deep, all right? Our bats are getting onto the ball. I don't understand this team because we really didn't make that many changes in the offseason. Like, we didn't really shake things up that much. We did bring up some new talent, great, but I mean, these guys are playing so well together right now.
And what's crazy to me is they're doing it without arguably two of their top three players.
Right.
So you obviously have Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez is the cream of the crop for the Guardians. Josh Naylor, you could kind of argue for a top three spot because Josh Naylor is turning into one of the best first basemen in baseball. And then your other two that you've been playing without, Shane Bieber and Stephen Kwan. And okay, I have a cat on my desk right now.
Nice.
Get the fuck out of here, Doug. What are you doing? Oh, Tara closed the door, so she's locked in. So that's why she's freaking out. But yeah, the Guardians they lost Shane Bieber only a couple games into the season, and they've been without Stephen Kwan for a few weeks now. And Stephen Kwan had the
highest batting average. Or
I know it wasn't gonna last for him to be in this conversation, but for the beginning part of the season, he was legitimately an MVP candidate because of his stats. He was leading the league, and I think at the time RBI, he was leading the league in batting average, hits. Like, he was doing so many things so well, and he's already a Gold Glove outfielder. And yeah, Devin, I agree. I've been listening to a lot of Guardians games lately because the Bally Sports app is pure trash. I spent about an hour on the phone with them the other day, like texting, like their live chat. And I basically just kept telling them, I'm like, your guys' app is trash. Like, you guys suck. I straight up told them, I said, I cannot wait till you go bankrupt and you fold. I hate you as a company.
Please tell me you screenshot that, because that's hilarious.
I still have the text, yeah. So let me find it. It's pretty fucking funny. So they did.
Did they have like the generic computer responses just to?
So this was supposedly a real person. Like, they were texting me back.
Okay.
Where was it? Yeah. So at the end, it's like, hey, how did we do today? Please rate us. And I was like, it's 1 out of 5 for star. Give them a 1. Then they put additional comments to add. I said, your app sucks, and I hate your company, and I look forward to when you go bankrupt and stop existing. That was my.
That's your nice. At least you're honestly filled out the survey.
That was to a computer. When I was actually speaking with a real person, what did I say? I definitely told them the app sucks right to their face. Yeah. So they were like, hey, could you please give us your zip code and your email address, blah, blah, blah. And then the person's like, hey, I'm Maria Lynn. I will be assisting you today. And I said, I can't watch anything on the app. I keep getting an error message. This is ridiculous. Your app sucks. Like, I was very honest with them. I just kept telling them their app is trash. And then basically at the end, we did a troubleshooting for probably an hour, no bullshit. And at the end, they hand to God, they go, well, we've exhausted all of our troubleshooting options, so maybe call Spectrum. It might be their problem.
Your internet works perfectly fine, yet it's a Spectrum problem.
And the exact same error codes that I'm getting in the same order. Basically, what'll happen is you go to watch and it'll say, connect your device. So they give you an option. It's like valleysports.com/connect or whatever the fuck, or they give you a QR code. And then they want you to put in this like 4-digit code or whatever that they have up on the screen. For whatever reason, because of a glitch in their app, that screen only stays up for like 10 seconds. So by the time you get to the website, start typing in the code, the screen goes away, and then it says error, retry. And you basically have to back out, go back in, try it again. And again, you literally have maybe 10 seconds until this thing just goes, nope. And I'm not alone. I've talked with people random people on Twitter, Reddit groups. So many people have this exact same problem, and they go, yeah, we tried everything. It's probably your internet.
There's no workaround to this glitch that they have with their login system?
Pirating. That's literally the only option I found. I have to illegally stream the games, or I've been listening to Tom Hamilton. That's it. I've been listening to him.
That's unfortunate. I only watch Guardians games if it's on like a bar TV because I don't watch it from home. It's just too much of a nuisance, to try to get into it.
I like throwing a game on like on a weeknight, like if I'm cooking, whatever, just have the game playing. And like, especially this week, my buddies are Mets fans. I wanted to watch the Guardians play the Mets, and obviously they won them all. So that's even better. But I wanted to watch these games and be able to talk mad shit. Instead, I had to listen to them, which is fine. Because as Devin said, Guardians do have the best people. And yeah, Tom Hamilton is so good. Listening to the games is fucking fantastic. And yeah, today they sat a bunch of guys. The Naylor brothers didn't play. Still pulled out the W, 6-3, beat the Mets.
Thought it was kind of close at first. I mean, 3-0, pretty quick, but they made the comeback, which is great.
And
so.
the sweetest part about that is my Met friends were talking shit. They were like, Tristan McKenzie sucks. This is batting practice for us today. And then we went on to win. They haven't responded to anything, but my God, if I sent them so much shit talking. We were making fun of them for getting swept. I was sending a bunch of gifts. I sent a bunch of L gifts, and I'm like, hey, could you guys hold this for a minute? And I just was talking so much shit.
I mean, haven't they not learned the talking shit? I mean, if you're gonna, you got to take it. If you're gonna give it, you got to be able to take it in good spirit too. So.
Oh yeah, because I let them have it after the Pacers game too. So I was actually in the movie theater. Tara and I went and saw the new Strangers movie on Sunday. It was trash, pure garbage movie. But the movie started at 3 p.m. and the Pacers game started at 3:30. So I was checking the score a little bit here and there. The theater was damn near empty, so I would just really quickly look at my phone. And next thing you know, it's the movie ends. I pull my phone out. I check the score. I see the fucking Pacers are up by like 20. They're beating the shit out of the Knicks. So I text all my friends because they knew I was at the movies. And I'm like, hey guys, movie just ended. How are my Knicks doing right now? Haven't had a chance to check the score. I would just rub it in. I was talking so much shit.
That wasn't even a game, man. That was such a blowout. That's crazy.
No, and then when they got eliminated, I went off on them. And then they were like, oh, well, we played hurt. They showed a lot of heart. Donovan Mitchell quit on the Cavs. And I'm like, you guys just fucking got blown out at home, game 7. And the first thing you do is bring up Donovan Mitchell. I'm like, you guys have a fucking problem.
I mean, that Mitchell thing does kind of annoy me a little bit if we get into the Cavs here, but it's whatever.
So, yeah, we can absolutely get into the Cavs. We'll really quickly give you an update. Boston, Indiana played yesterday. Boston won that game in overtime. They're up 1-0 in their series.
That was a hell of a game. I thought the Pacers were going to take that one. I really did.
Yeah, the Pacers shot themselves in the foot. They are an inexperienced young team, and they looked that way exactly because at the end of the game, when they needed to just be competent, they couldn't do it. They turned the ball over. They almost got a 5-second inbound call, and then they threw a horrible pass that went out of bounds off of them, giving Boston possession to tie the game and send it to overtime just because they didn't call a timeout. There were multiple passes that got stolen because they were just careless with the ball. They didn't foul at the end of the game. So the defense they had called for the final shot, they just didn't foul. Like, you're up by 3, less than 10 seconds to go. The thing that everybody wants to do in the NBA nowadays, you don't let a guy get a shot off, you foul. Make them take 2 free throws instead of getting a 3-pointer off. So your team still has the lead and you'll get fouled, whatever. They let Jaylen Brown take a shot, and Jaylen Brown sunk it, sent it to overtime. And Indiana did not stand a chance in overtime.
Yeah, but you know what? When you have Rick Carlisle as your coach, he's a proven, playoff coach.
Sure.
That should not have happened, right? Players are
no, and that's why. I don't blame Rick Carlisle at all. I blame the team. I think you have a bunch of young guys that are inexperienced. Like Tyrese Halliburton's like 24 years old. You have, the one guy, Pascal Siakam, is a champion. He won a championship in Toronto when he was there with Kawhi. But you have like Andrew Nembhard and Miles Turner, these guys who have like barely even seen the playoffs, if at all. And they're now in the Eastern Conference Finals, game 1 in Boston. You're about to pull this huge upset over the number 1 seed, and you piss down your fucking legs. I blame the players fully 100%. Horrible job out of the Pacers. They literally it was a choke job of all choke jobs last night. But can't take anything away from Boston. Boston came out, won the game. They did what they were supposed to do as a 1 seed. They didn't stop fighting.
What was the spread before the game started? I didn't even look.
I think it was about 10, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 10 or 10.5.
Why did they keep giving Boston this much of a window? They're good, but the Pacers are not a pushover team.
There he is, Steve. Steve, I was just promoting your golf outing this year. So if you want to post something in there for people, I know Devin, he was asking about some more info. I told him that it is August 17th. I forgot the golf course off the top of my head, but if you want to pass along some info or send me a flyer, I'd be happy to put that flyer in rotation on the screen too. That would be a good idea. But yeah, Steve, pass some info along for the golf outing. We have some more interested parties.
There's not an MGA outing on August 10th, so I can throw that in the MGA group.
17th.
Obviously, it's 17th. There is a golf outing on the 17th. My bad.
There it is. EricKratkeGolf.com at Mallard Creek. Perfect. Thank you, Steve.
I thought it was the 10th. I thought the guy said the 10th, though.
No, I think it's the 17th.
Oh, 17th. Okay.
Yeah, 17th, 8 a.m. registration. So, Steve, You're a little late to the show. I met with Jean Marcel, who Steve, and they pushed my time in Germany up 2 weeks. So I will be there from the 5th through the 16th. Not sure when I'm coming home yet. We haven't booked any flights. So if I somehow get a Friday night flight in, I could possibly make it on the 17th, but I'm not 100% sure when my flights are yet. As soon as I find that out, I'll let you know. But unfortunately, it's looking like I might not be in America for the outing this year, which initially I was supposed to be. So that's a bummer. I was actually supposed to go to Germany on the 19th, which would have worked out perfectly. But apparently the guy that I'm going there to shadow, he is going to be on vacation starting the 19th when I was supposed to go the first time. So they asked me if I could move it up 2 weeks. So that just happened this week. So we'll see what happens. Flights haven't been made yet. I don't know what the logistics are, the itinerary, if you will, but we'll figure it all out. Western Conference Finals, Dallas takes on Minnesota tonight. This one is interesting. You've got some young teams. You've got Luka, who, it's the weirdest thing. Luka's still only like 25 years old, but I feel like he's been in the league for 15 years. Doesn't it seem like Luka's old? Like it seems like he's been in the NBA for like 10 years.
He just looks old, but he's like
25.
He moves as slow as an old man does too sometimes, but
yeah, he looks like a seasoned vet, but then you're like, oh no shit, he's still a kid. Like hasn't even hit his prime yet, probably, which is fucked up to think about.
Well, let's back up real quick. I want to talk about that semifinal. So Denver had it, right?
I want to talk about that too. I wanted to ask you your thoughts.
I was going to go backwards on it. So.
No, you're fine. I have that in the next step here. I wanted to talk about your thoughts on the Minnesota-Denver series. So you have Denver, the ex-champions, with like a 20-point halftime lead. They pissed down their leg. There we go. They blew it. They blew a big lead, a 20-point lead at home to lose Game 7. At the end of the game, though, what are your thoughts? So Anthony Edwards, he's young, he's cocky, he's trying to be the new face of the NBA.
Michael Jordan Jr.
waving to the fans and talking shit. And Jokic did not take kindly to that. Jokic, I'll give him full credit. I love Jokic. I think Nikolai Jokic is one of the best players in the NBA by far. I mean, his MVPs speak for that. He didn't like it. He went right up to Anthony Edwards and was like, why? Why are you waving to the fans? And he just was like, why not? Look at the scoreboard. Like, just kind of being a piece of shit. It's like, if you're going to lose, like, lose gracefully. And if you're going to win gracefully.
Yeah.
And
agree.
And I feel like Jokic is a very humble player. Like, he came out after the game, even though he was pissed at Anthony Edwards, and he was like, they were the better team. They outplayed us in every facet. Like, they were better.
Yeah.
He's never like waved to the crowd and like been cocky, but then you've got Anthony Edwards doing that. And makes me wonder, does that put a little bit of a target on their back in terms of fans? Like, how do you feel about that situation? As an impartial person, you're going in, you're obviously a Cavs fan. You watch the Nuggets get beat. You see Anthony Edwards being all cocky and kind of being a piece of shit, waving to the crowd and all this. Does this make you like him more? Are you indifferent? Do you hate him?
So that paired with I think the other guy in the Timberwolves who kind of threw that dunk.
Who tried to do that super dunk and they fouled him.
So that compared, I mean, both of those together. I mean, honestly, I'm a fan of Anthony Edwards' basketball game, but I'm not a fan of his personality. They're young. They're a young team, right? They're going to be around for a while. They have a very talented team. But I do think it does put a target on them. But then again, you're going up against another diva of a team when it comes to Dallas, right? You have two sides of a basketball here that both sides are going to be complaining to the ref each play, right? Let's be honest. Luka does it every game, right? Every chance he gets, he's looking at the ref going, "What the hell, man? And someone is blue on me, call a foul." So no, I think they've kind of taken the villain role on. I think if anything, they're probably the one team. Them and Boston on the east side are probably the two villains, right? If I had to pick sides, and I think Dallas and I think Indy are kind of the, let's say, heroes, but the nice guys if you had to pick a team. But yeah, they're definitely the villains. They're young, they're cocky. This could be a good chance for Dallas to kind of make them humble a little bit, right? To kind of shut them up. But we'll see what happens. But I don't know. That's kind of uncalled for. You're good. Act like you've been there before, even though you haven't been there before. But act like you've been there before a little bit. I think that Denver just gave up. I think Denver just didn't want to play anymore. I think they're just tired. They won the championship last year. I think Jokic wanted to kind of go home. I think he's probably the most excited guy right now to be going home. I think the team is just like, fuck it. Like they didn't have enough energy to give.
No, and that's the thing. Minnesota's a young, youthful team, and they brought a lot of energy that the Nuggets just couldn't match. But yeah, that's the other thing too, is like when I think of like hostile fan bases, the Nuggets do not strike me as a
No.
hostile
No,
fan base
everyone
for
loves
Anthony
each other
Edwards.
there. They're all married to each other, so they have a
For
good time
Anthony
up there.
Edwards to be no, that's Utah. For
Oh,
Anthony
that's right.
Edwards to
My
be
bad.
waving to the crowd, it's like, were they that like negative and like upsetting to you, or are you just being a dick? Like I don't. Maybe there's a backstory. Maybe there was something that I missed.
Do
But
you
either
honestly
way,
think Anthony Edwards is like the next big thing?
no, and that's the other thing too, is he's very good. He has so much potential, but he is a guy that, yeah, he scored a couple. He had a couple 40-point games in like the first couple rounds, and then he had games where he scored like 15. He looked like shit.
Right.
So for me, it's like, all right, you're seriously inconsistent, which means you have the opportunity to be good. You definitely can continue to grow and to be a better player, but right now you're not the superstar they're trying to make you out to be.
You're not the best player in your team, man. Like that's my opinion. Like you're not even the best player in your team right now. But I don't think that I don't know. I just think he's missing that next level. Like I think he's going to be really good. Like he's going to be a really good basketball player, but he doesn't have that next level, right? That LeBron next level or the Luka next level or the Tatum next level, right? These are guys who can take it to the next level if they need to. I don't think Anthony Edwards has that, in my honest opinion.
No, Edwards for me is basically like he has to start the game off hot. If he doesn't start the game off
Yeah.
hot, he that's it. That's him for the whole game.
Right.
Like that
No,
happened on
agreed.
Sunday. On Sunday, he had to. Other people had to basically carry the team. Karl Anthony Towns had a huge game. He had like 20 something points. Rudy Gobert had a pretty good game. I think Naz Reid had a really good game. You've got all these role. I mean, Naz Reid was the sixth man of the year, so obviously, you're relying on your bench, which again, most teams should. I'm not knocking Anthony Edwards for that, but he started off very slow. I think he only had like 4 points in the first quarter, or maybe even less than that. But it's like if you're trying to solidify yourself as like the next LeBron or Jordan, whatever, you're the superstar. You got to bring a little bit more than less than 10 points and a half or whatever the fuck he had on.
He
Sunday.
reminds me of Jimmy Butler, right? Jimmy Butler, great basketball player. He just doesn't have the it, he doesn't have the it factor. I don't think he's hot and cold at times, and we shouldn't be hot or cold.
Jimmy Butler, I put on a different pedestal because Jimmy Butler plays lockdown defense. He is
okay.
And in the playoffs, they call him Jimmy Buckets because he can carry his team. Like last year, the Heat were like an 8 seed. I think they won a play-in tournament game, and that's how they got into the playoffs. They ended up taking that team to the finals. They beat the 1 seed Boston because Jimmy Butler just took it to another level. He beat the Knicks last year. Don't get me wrong, plenty of talent around him. Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo. Last year they had Max Strus, Caleb Martin. They had a really good team around everybody. And even this year, the Heat made the playoffs, but Jimmy Butler was hurt. So had Jimmy Butler been out there, they would have probably stood a much better chance against Boston, but Jimmy Butler didn't play. He is known for being a big playoff participant, Jimmy Butler. Again, they call him Jimmy Buckets. He's a different level. Anthony Edwards, again, he's a good highlight reel. He can dunk. He can jump out of the fucking gym. That's awesome. He's getting better at shooting threes. Defensively, overall, they're the number 1 defensive team in basketball. Minnesota is, but that's because you have Rudy Gobert. You have Karl Anthony Towns. You have multiple 7-footers who are defensive player of the year candidates. And then Karl Anthony Towns has figured out how to shoot. So he can score 25, 30 a night. And they both are getting, 5+ rebounds. Gobert's averaging like 13 rebounds a game or whatever the fuck. So that definitely helps your team. But as far as Anthony Edwards goes, yeah, like he's fun to watch. He's good, but he is not a single-handedly going to dominate a game kind of guy.
Right. Agree.
So we'll see what happens in this tournament. In this,
who
next round.
Who are you rooting for in this series?
Probably Minnesota 1. Celtics. I'm sorry, not Celtics. Mavs 2, Pacers 3, Celtics 4 in that order of who I'm hoping wins a championship because obviously I hate any Eastern Conference team as a Cavs fan. Pacers, direct rivals, so I don't want to see them win a championship. The Celtics, I fucking hate everything about Boston. Definitely don't want to see them win a championship. That's why they're last. You don't even have to put them at 4. They're not even on my list of somebody that I want to win a championship. And then you've got the Mavericks and the Timberwolves. Timberwolves, I'm pretty indifferent. Honestly, there's nobody on there that I hate. There's nobody on there that's really done anything against the Cavs. Like it's weird, but that's kind of how I base everything off of. So I look at like the Knicks. The Knicks eliminated the Cavs last year. Before that, didn't really care about the Knicks. I rooted against them because of my buddies, but then when they beat us in the playoffs, I fucking hate the Knicks now. The Cubs in baseball. When the Cubs beat us in the World Series, I now hate the Cubs so much. I want them to lose every game for the rest of eternity. I will forever hate the Golden State Warriors. Basically, any team that's ever stood in the Cavs or a Cleveland team's way, I hate. So for that reason, there's nobody on Minnesota that I can really think of that's ever wronged me, if you will. And Mavericks, I like Luka. I love Luka. I'd love to see him get a championship, but I hate Kyrie. I don't want Kyrie to win another one. I don't want him to get one without LeBron. I have to root against the Mavericks because of Kyrie Irving.
No, Kyrie would get one as the second fiddle again. Like, it's not like he's the reason why they won the championship.
Yeah, but it's still, I just don't want him to be happy.
Okay.
He wanted out of Cleveland. So for me, it's like, then fuck you. I hope the worst things happen to you.
So I think Dallas is I'm rooting for Dallas because of Luka, right? Minnesota, I'm indifferent to, like you. I mean, whatever. Either one of those teams wins a championship, I'm fine with. But you're right. I don't want to see it go to the East. I want it to stay in the West.
Any team in the West, I'm cool with.
Yeah. But I do like the matchup. So, like, I think no matter who gets to the finals, whether it's a Dallas Indy, Minnesota Indy, Dallas Boston, Minnesota Boston, I think it's going to be a fun finals no matter what happens.
I do too. And I mean, hey, what's up, Mike? Thanks for checking in. The cool thing, if you think about it, is assuming they make it, you never know. Game 1 is tonight. If Minnesota gets to the finals, they will be playing whichever team advances from the Eastern Conference Finals, either the number 1 or the number 2 offense in all of NBA. Meanwhile, Minnesota is the number 1 defense. So you have the potential to see the number 1 offense against the number 1 defense, or the number 2 offense against the number 1 defense, which would be fucking awesome. I think that'd be really cool.
Makes for a good finals, and I think that makes for a long series too. I don't think that's going to be a series that goes just in 4 games.
I hope not. Great for TV. I don't want a quick series. I want a nice long.
It just means that we still have another 2 months of fucking NBA playoff basketball.
Minimum. Yeah, and then like a week after the finals, you have the draft. Like, basketball doesn't stop. Basketball is a year-long thing, basically. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm excited. The Western Conference Finals start tonight. Cavs, of course, have been eliminated. They lost last week.
Did Mitchell give up?
No.
You don't think he could have played one of those 2 games? Come on. Did we get a doctor report on this whatever he had, calf injury?
No, I think what happened was, he missed it because of the calf, but I think what happened was he was playing with a bad knee. They already said that he basically is going to have to figure out. Oh, we lost the stream. I just saw that comment. Instagram disconnected the stream. They currently disconnected streams after 1 hour for most users. If you want to continue streaming on Instagram, you can remove the destination from the stream and re-add it. I guess I could try that. Let me see what happens here. Let me exit out. Sorry for this, folks. This is just what happens here, talking about balls behind the scenes.
Technical difficulties.
And we'll go to the changes. Audience is, of course, going to be public or pubic if you are dyslexic. Copy the stream key. I'm going to send it to you, George, here in this chat. So let's do that. Hopefully that works. See if that works. Godspeed. If not, we're not doing Instagram right now. Not a problem. But yeah, so
we should just stream on our OnlyFans site. Create one and stream on there.
I'm okay with that. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Charge $2 for a membership just to join anytime we go live.
It's really weird to me that there are people out there that have OnlyFans accounts for like normal shit. Like, when you hear OnlyFans, you of course only think of like skanks and
showing your butthole. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like you make that literally just to show off the goods. Meanwhile, Stipe Miocic, Cleveland's finest, arguably the best heavyweight champion of UFC history, has an OnlyFans. I don't think he's doing anything gross on it. I think it's just like a behind the scenes, like you can see his life.
Only way to tell. Let's go.
I'm not signing up. Actually, no. I'll use the Talking About Balls company card. This is a business expense. We'll see. But yeah, he has an OnlyFans.
For science and research.
Like the other day, he posted a picture of himself. I guess he did like the puck drop at the Monsters playoff the other day.
I like that.
And he goes, more on my OnlyFans. I'm thinking about, like, you're in the middle of the ice at a Lake Erie Monsters game. What the hell could you be doing that's OnlyFans? And then I think about it. I'm like, oh wait, that's right. Yeah, you don't have to just show your butthole. So there's plenty more to do on OnlyFans, I guess.
I mean, I guess I've just never heard of it being used for anything other than that, because that's what other social medias are for, right? I mean,
I think it died already, but I know OnlyFans was trying to make like a TV app. And I know what you're thinking when you hear that. You're probably thinking like it's like the Playboy channel or like, Spice. It's just all porno. But
like flip it through channels, subscribe to this woman for
God knows
$3.99.
how much they spent to get them all there, but they did a roast of Bert Kreischer on that. And they had some pretty big
Really?
names. Yeah, I think Jay Okerson was one of the roasters. They had Whitney Cummings, I think, was the host. Like they had some really good names for this roast. It was on OnlyFans TV and it was free. So you had to just sign up for OnlyFans TV and watch the show. And it was a pretty good roast. It was about a year ago or so, if I had to guess. But when I saw that, I'm like, that's weird. Like OnlyFans is trying to make TV programming now.
Well,
And
they're trying to build their brand, right? They don't want to be known just as "come see the insides of my asshole" type.
But that was like a year ago, and to my knowledge, I haven't seen anything promoted from them again. But I mean, the roast was funny. I don't like Bert Kreischer personally. I think he's kind of a tryhard, and
he's got the one joke, as Nikki Glazer said.
And I wanted to see him get roasted, and people did a really good job. They let him fucking have it, so it was pretty cool.
Was she on it too? Was Glazer on it?
I honestly don't remember. Like I said, it was about a year ago. I remember Darnell Rawlings from Chappelle's Show. He was a roaster. I think Jay Okerson, Whitney Cummings. That's all I can remember, honestly, off the top of my head.
Speaking of Glazer, did you watch her special on HBO yet?
No.
Okay. All right. It just came out like last week, I think.
I honestly didn't even know she had a special. I like her as a roaster, but I've never really cared for her actual stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of comedians that are like that for me, where like their roasting is fucking top notch, but their actual stand-up material is kind of like,
boring. Yeah.
Like Jeselnik's one of the few. Like Jeff Ross is one of the greatest roasters of all time, but he has like old albums from when he was just a stand-up, and they don't do it for me. Just certain people, it doesn't translate, and it doesn't translate the other way. If you look at Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer, they were on the roast, and I don't think their roasting was good at all. But Tom Segura is a very funny stand-up. Bert Kreischer,
I think he's hilarious. Yeah,
he's a great stand-up. But their roasting thing, I was like, didn't do much for me.
So as the great Tim would say, squirrel, because we totally went from Mitchell quitting on the Cavs to OnlyFans accounts. So back to the Mitchell and the Cavs thing.
I don't even. How the hell did we even get to that point?
I have no fucking idea. But
you said something about OnlyFans. That's right.
Yeah. So my point was though. So you don't think that Mitchell gave up? You think he could not have played those 2 games?
I think the opposite of him giving up. I think he gave his all, and that's what got him that calf injury, because he has been battling a knee injury for most of the season. Which now that we're in the offseason, he's going to have to make a decision on basically like to get a procedure done to clean it out and help it out, because his knee was pretty fucked up. And I think by playing with that bum knee, how many times in the Orlando series or even the first couple games against Boston would he just shoot a basic jumper or just do a layup, whatever, and he would fall and he would get up gingerly holding his knee because he was in pain.
Yeah.
The knee was hurting him. So that means clearly, and again, you and I, everybody listening, we're just normal dudes. We've all probably played basketball, sports, whatever, for fun. Imagine playing it at the highest level. You're giving it 110% against the best athletes in the world, and you're banged up. The only way you can kind of keep up with that is you have to overcompensate. So he's got a bad knee, so he's pushing through it and might be running a different way because his knee's fucked up. So that's what caused him to then pull a calf muscle, because he's overdoing something to avoid to hurt his knee, and it fucked up his calf, which is very common for athletes, that they're trying to avoid one injury or they're trying to protect one injury, and it ends up hurting something else. And that's exactly what I think happened, in my opinion. I don't know if they'll ever come out and say that, but just gun to my head, I think he tried to play through a knee injury, which, again, look at the Magic series. Look at the first couple games against Boston. The dude could barely walk. He would shoot a ball, he'd collapse on the ground, he'd have to get up and like kind of limp back to play defense because his knee was that fucked up. So for me, I don't think anything of this. I think this was literally, he couldn't go. He gave it all, and he literally couldn't move anymore. It wasn't safe for him to play.
So does that lead into the question of, do you think Mitchell's back next year?
Yeah, but with variables, which leads me to a couple questions for you. Let's play a little Cavaliers Stay or Go Kyle edition. Here we go. First and foremost, let's start at the top of the top. Kobe Altman. Do you think Kobe Altman is safe?
Yes.
I do too. Now we're gonna go down that tree
That tree. I like it. Okay.
and we're gonna climb down one little limb, and we're gonna look at the head coach JB Bickerstaff. The
Mm.
Cavs have said they are going to take their time making a decision for their next head coach. I have
Mm-hmm.
always been adamant that I want Mike Budenholzer, but obviously he took the
He
job in
gone.
Phoenix,
He
so
gone.
he is no longer an option. There are still other options available, pretty decent ones too. Kenny Atkinson is still available, who used to coach the Nets, he was dealt a pile of shit, and he did a really good job with them. He is now, I believe, an assistant with the Golden State Warriors, so learning from the best. I've heard rumblings. I'm not allowed to reveal my sources, but I have heard some rumblings from potential inner people. I don't know how great this source is because it's the first time I've gotten any good information from them like this. So we'll see if what it adds up to. But I have been told the Cavaliers team loves Luke Walton.
Oh, okay.
He is an assistant coach for the Cavaliers right now, and I've heard that they love him and they want him to be the next head coach. For what it's worth. Again, this is a rumor that I heard from somebody that supposedly, allegedly got this information from someone that works within the Cavs organization. That's all
Remember,
I can say.
any sources, you have to get double confirmation before you run with it, so.
And I did not. That's why I'm putting this one out there, and I'm being very honest about how I don't know how reliable this is. But that's all I can say is that I
do believe that Bickerstaff is gone. I do think that they probably look at him and think that he probably lost that team a little bit. I just don't. I don't know. I think he's gone. I think he is.
Ooh, Steve hates Luke Walton. The potential for him.
They're gonna take their time, but yeah, I'm not a big. I don't know how I'm thinking about Luke Walton. I guess, but I do think I do think JB's gone. That's, if you're asking that question, that's my answer. I do believe he's gone.
Luke Walton is an ex-player. For those of you that don't know, I assume most people watching the show would have some sort of idea who Luke Walton is. His dad, of course, Hall of Famer Bill Walton. Luke Walton was a Laker, won multiple championships with Kobe Bryant, and he went in to be a coach. So he's been an assistant coach for multiple teams. He's been with the Cavaliers for the last couple of years, and I don't know anything about his coaching tactics. So again, this is why the rumor is the Cavs players love Luke Walton because they see him every day. He's a coach for them, but he's an assistant. So from the outside looking in, I don't know anything about him. I have no idea what to say. Like, I don't know his methods, whatever.
Well, of course you see him every day. If he's an assistant, he's down in the trenches with you mostly,
Yeah, exactly. He's the one you're probably working with more than the head coach, because the head coach might be not distracted, but the head coach would be like, all right, I'm going to go focus on this today. And then your assistants are taking over everything else. So that could be the case. But again, that's just a rumor that I heard. I was listening to 850, and I know we kind of throw them under the bus every week, but it's getting bad on that station. I'm on their Reddit group, and people just fucking rip that show. And then the more I listen to it, like, subjectively, I'm like, yeah, these people are right. Like, this is bad fucking radio. Like, this is not entertaining. These people are fucking idiots. So just to give you guys the backstory, Tony Rizzo is the host of the Really Big Show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. till 1 p.m. I take that back. Tony Rizzo is now on a 4-day-a-week plan because he's getting older, so he is only there Monday through Thursday. But they are on from 9 to 1. This week, Tony Rizzo is on vacation. So Aaron Goldhammer is the head coach, or the co-host, or the main host, I should say. He's normally the co-host. He is now the main host of the show. Yesterday, they were basically going over what to do in the JB Bickerstaff situation. And because they don't know any of the assistant coaches in the NBA that could be potential replacements, they basically poo-pooed all of them. They were listing off assistants and going, oh, you think this guy's going to be the next Phil Jackson? You think this guy's going to be Eric Spoelstra? It's like, who the fuck was Phil Jackson or Eric Spoelstra until they got a chance and they became head coaches? So how do you poo-poo a coordinator?
No, they were born into the coaching realm. They were like the Jesus.
I must have missed that on their Wikipedia.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to me that because these guys who do this for a living don't know who these guys are, they just immediately are like, no, he's not better than JB Bickerstaff. Like the question they asked the two people on the show, Goldhammer asked the other guy, he goes, what grade do you give JB Bickerstaff? And he said, probably a B- overall for his whole tenure on the Cavaliers, which would be a 7 out of 10, whatever. And they started listing off different assistants, and they go, you think he's better than a 7 out of 10? And they're like, well, no. They're like, JJ Redick, do you think he's better than a 7 out of 10? It's like, how the fuck do you know? Like, how do you just try to predict what an assistant coach could potentially be as a head coach? I think it's asinine radio.
That's why it's AM, bro. That's why it's AM.
And then the icing on the cake yesterday, they decided to go down memory lane and just talk about the 2016 World Series against the Cubs for some reason. I don't know even how they got on the subject of it. We're in May of the 2024 baseball season, where the Guardians are in first place. They're playing great. And they're talking about the heartbreak 2016 World Series. No idea why. I heard that. I turned it off. I went on Reddit. Everyone in the Reddit comments were like, what the fuck are they doing today? Why are they talking about this?
So I mean, it would make sense if we had a series against the Cubs, right? If we were
nothing to do with
the Cubs. But I'm just saying, but it would make sense transition-wise that you're talking about this because we're playing the Cubs. But no, that doesn't make any sense. And yet these guys get paid, I would assume,
it's
decent money to do this. To do this.
That's truly why I decided I wanted to make the show weekly again, was because I'm listening to these guys on the radio, and no offense to them, kudos to them for getting their job, whether it was through nepotism or whatever. Which it 100% was for Aaron Goldhammer, by the way. But I listen to these guys doing their show, and I'm like, this sucks. Like, this is horrible. We're in Cleveland, Ohio, a sports mecca. Let's be honest. Our teams, sure, heartbreak. You know, we're the butt of a lot of jokes, but you have diehard sports fans that love all sports teams in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm like, we deserve better. Our fans deserve better. So.
We should start cutting clips of us and just start posting towards Goldhammer.
I'm down.
Start the war, man. Let's just go.
Telling me sucks. And yeah, George, honestly, that's what it is. Like, you listen in Cleveland and you're like, man, there's got to be something better than this out here. You listen to the sports talk radio, it's bad. And I love 850. I've listened to 850, but long before 92.3 The Fan was even a station in Cleveland. So that was the main sports talk in Cleveland and a station. And I'm listening to it now, and I'm like, man, these guys are fucking terrible. Like, it's painful to listen to most of them. And things need to change. Things need to get better over there at 850.
You would think that they would think Google or internet is expensive because you can use it to research things before you talk about them.
They don't do that. They have no interest in that. They literally just talk off the cuff. They bring up bullshit, and they are very uneducated, and it shows. It's glaringly obvious with them.
So uneducated, get your own show, get paid a decent amount, and then get a satellite show. I think we're doing this all wrong. I think we're doing this all wrong.
All about who you know. That's the thing. That's all I'll say on that matter. A lot of nepotism going on. Yeah, exactly. He went to New York University or whatever, and his dad is best friends with the owner of Good Karma Broadcasting, and that's how he got the job.
That's all you're going to say about that, huh? Nope, just going to say it anyways.
Just going to throw it out there. I mean, everybody knows it. It's the worst. It's not a hidden secret by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, so back to the Cavaliers. We did get a little squirreled again, but it happens because it was relevant. Yeah, JB Bickerstaff, I think he is gone. The Cavs said they're going to take their time with the decision, but I think he's gone. I do think he lost the locker room. Too many questionable decisions during the season. Honestly, there were times where you're questioning, like we would blow this year in particular for whatever reason. We blew so many second half leads. And I'm not talking like a 2-point lead. I'm talking like a 10-point lead. Great.
What's up,
Grape? Back from the West Coast? Or are you still on the West Coast? What's up, dude? Good to hear from you. I haven't talked to Grape in a minute. But you have a Cavaliers team who last year was a defensive juggernaut. This year, not the case. They gave up a ton of leads. End of the season, who knows what would have happened? I'm not playing the hindsight 2020 game because we'll never know. But the Cavs should have had the number 2 seed locked up 2 weeks before the season ended. But they pissed away so many games. We missed out on the 2 seed by a half game. The Knicks didn't, beat us by 10 games or anything like that. It was all very, very accessible. And we blew so many games. We lost twice to the Hornets in the final month. We blew, off the top of my head, I can't even think of them, but we did blow a lot of leads. We lost to a lot of teams we should not have lost to. Thanks, Grape. Good to hear from you. This is not my final setup. I'm still working on what I want to do in this office, as I was saying earlier in the episode, but I got sidetracked, I think. But yeah, it's cool doing it from here. Better crystal clear video. Audio is good. So far, haven't really had too many technical difficulties. I still blame George for 2 weeks ago, the debacle of not getting the show started on time. But that's a discussion we had internally. And
that's that Greyhound bus driving around. It hits anybody. Don't worry about it, George.
Kyle and I let George have it. For those of you wondering at home, we gave him a piece of our mind, and he said it'll never happen again. I'm just kidding. Shit happens. We don't give a fuck. If you guys have paid attention to our show for a long time, you know that we don't give a shit. If there's technical difficulty, we just roll with it. For now, George, you heard that that's strike one. Strike two is one ball, and then strike three is both balls. That's how it goes.
And we put him on the shelf behind Justin. That's what happened.
That's what I got an open spot over here on my bookshelf, and that's just for George's balls. We're going to pickle them, and they're going to sit there in a mason jar. But yeah, I think JB gets fired. In terms of who's going to be his replacement, no idea. Again, the rumor I heard is Luke Walton. I've heard, and this is where it turns into a conspiracy theory, because do the Cavs draft Bronny James? Do they try to bring back LeBron?
I hope not.
Who will be a free agent? Rumor has it they started doing the podcast together. LeBron and JJ want to work together. So the Lakers have a head coach vacancy. Rumor has it could be JJ Redick. But if he wants to coach with LeBron, if LeBron wants to leave, the Cavs would then have to hire JJ Redick probably in order to recruit LeBron.
I don't know. JJ Redick, though, I don't know. Like, I just, he doesn't do it for me. Like, I know he's not proven and you have to start somewhere, but something about that, man, I don't know. Can't stand.
Not to get political, but I swear I have a point to this. That's why I'm saying it.
It's a good lead in. It's a good lead in.
Not to get political, but I look at it as, I feel like if you want to be a head coach, you should probably have been an assistant at some point. And I kind of look at this as Donald Trump. Donald Trump just immediately was like, I want to be president. Was never a governor, was never a senator, had zero political background, and just was like, I'm going to go for the top job. Got it. Kudos. But
got it.
That's like the JJ Redick
nailed
situation.
It.
JJ Redick he's not coached. He's been a podcaster. He's been an ESPN analyst. He has never been a coach at any facet. He's never been an assistant coach, whatever. And now all of a sudden you're hearing him as a head coach somewhere. And it's just like, that's interesting, because you think a little bit of experience would help. Even if it was for one fucking season, being an assistant coach would make more sense than just getting hired off being a podcaster.
Maybe you should send your resume down to the Cavs and say, I'm up for interviewing,
I've kind of, the funny thing, I was half joking in my head. A few weeks ago, the Patriots could not get anybody to be their GM. They were asking for interviews. Nobody wanted their GM job. And I was like, I should just email and be like, I'll take it. Like, I've never done this, but I love football. Like, I'll help you guys as much as I can. I want to win. So, like, fuck it.
You think that's a Robert Kraft situation? Nobody wants to work for him?
No, I don't know what the situation. Part of me feels like it's they're trying to make Gerard. This is all speculation. This is just what I'm guessing. I feel like they're trying to make Gerard Mayo the next Belichick, where he's going to have full control. So you're going in there as the GM, but you don't have a say. Like, they're going to tell you who to take. They're going to tell you who to sign. You're just going in to be a puppet. You're going to be the fall guy. There you go, George. I would. What's the worst they do? They tell you no. Send it in.
At least it can be on your resume that you interviewed for an NBA coaching position.
George coached for 34 years. Andy has a podcast. He is basically the Northeast Ohio version of JJ Redick. Go for it. Why not?
I like it.
But yes, I think JB's gone. Now, continuing the stay or go thing, we both agree JB Bickerstaff's probably gone. Going down the list, we'll start at the top at our most recent All-Star player who has a huge contract. Well, I guess this is actually both of these guys. Darius Garland, stay or go.
That hinges. I mean, that really connects to a Mitchell thing, but I think he needs to go.
Yeah, the rumor has it that he is with Clutch Sports, and they have come out and basically said that if Donovan Mitchell signs an extension, Darius Garland wants traded. He does not want to play with Donovan Mitchell anymore.
Yeah, so I think he goes. And I think that's part of Mitchell's ask probably too, that he doesn't want to be with Garland.
For whatever reason, those two just couldn't make it work. I hate it. I really like Darius Garland. I wanted him to be a stud. He was an all-star once, and he has just regressed ever since. And that's since we got Donovan Mitchell. So those two, for whatever reason, and that's the thing that I love about sports is, yes, on paper, you can go, holy shit, you have all-star Darius Garland. You have superstar Donovan Mitchell. These guys are going to be great.
Yep.
Didn't work. Sometimes that shit just doesn't work. And look at the Clippers, for instance. The Clippers go out. They trade for James Harden. They have Russ Westbrook. They have Paul George. They have Kawhi Leonard. You look at that roster and you go, holy shit, these guys are going to fucking walk away with the championship. First round elimination. So it doesn't matter. You could stack up your team as much as you want, and they have to find a way to make it all work together. Because at the end of the day, I say this for every sport. I say it for the NFL. There are teams that go out there and sign like 6 different stud players on offense. They're like, oh, we've got a top tight end, 2 wide receivers, a running back, this and that. And it's like, well, there's only one football. So, like, cool. I'm glad you have all this talent, but you only have to worry about the person getting the ball. The other guys are irrelevant. Same with basketball. There's only one ball. One guy can shoot at a time. There's 24 seconds on the clock. You don't really have to worry about everybody all the time. You can kind of game plan to scheme things of like, all right, well, tonight this guy's better, so we're just going to try to focus on him and make the other guys beat us. And most of the time, teams can figure out ways to stop that.
Right.
Obviously, teams can make it work. You look at the Cavs. The Cavs had Kyrie Irving. They got LeBron James. They traded for Kevin Love. They made that work into 1 championship. Should have been 2. I'll never get over 2015. Should have been 2 championships. And then you look at the Golden State Warriors, who had Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and then they went out and got Kevin Durant, and that team was fucking unstoppable for 2 years when they played the Cavs. And little things like that. Some teams can make it work, some teams can't. And this Garland-Mitchell combination clearly wouldn't work. And that's
What's the trade value in Garland, do you think?
I think it's pretty good. He's shown enough. He was an all-star. He can clearly score 20 points a game. He can shoot the 3. He can pass the ball. He gets good assists. He averages like 6 assists a game. Turns the ball over a lot, though. But it is what it is. That happens in the NBA. He's a little sloppy. When he's by himself, he shoots. Look at how he did against Boston without Donovan Mitchell. He shot the lights out in a couple games. So it's really dependent on where he goes. Obviously, you have to be in a good situation. But the hard part with him is you have to contract match in the NBA. You have to really match the money. And he is making a shitload of it. He signed a nearly $200 million fully guaranteed contract with the Cavaliers a few years ago. Mm-hmm. So we have to find somebody that's going to match that money. Again, hypothetically speaking, there are people that have ran through things through the trade machine, and they did one that was, I think it was Darius Garland and George Niang to the Clippers, and that money would even out with Paul George. Again, this was somebody doing it on Twitter. I'm not saying there's a connection, but that's the type of hypothetical trade you'd have to look at because he makes a lot of money. So you're basically going to have to look at another player that's making a ton of money. But at the same time, if you're the Cavaliers, you don't just want to take on a shitty contract to dump Darius Garland. You want to make a move that's good for your
that's going to help the team, that's going to support, what we're trying to do.
So I honestly don't know. I've heard different rumblings about while we're here, I'll ask about another guy. Okay. Jared Allen, stay or go?
Stay.
I've heard rumors he's played his last game as a Cleveland Cavalier.
Really? It sucks. I personally, if I'm choosing, I'd like him to stay. I think he's a focal point. I don't put that much trust into Mobley. I just don't think he's progressing.
I don't know if you saw it or not, but right after the game on Wednesday when the Cavs got eliminated, The Athletic, multiple Cavalier beat reporters put out articles that basically said the team is pissed at Jared Allen because he was offered shots to get through the pain to be able to play in the playoffs against Boston, and he refused.
Really? I didn't know that.
That's the rumor. Where this info would come from, it would I forgot who I was listening to today. My apologies. I like to try to credit people when I listen, but I don't remember who I heard it from. Or maybe I read it on Twitter. I don't remember. But somebody said that had to have come from a player. No one in the organization would throw Jared Allen under the bus like that because if they're trying to trade him in the offseason, by basically saying he's a pussy, you're hurting his trade value.
Right.
So if he refused to take a shot to play through the pain, that had to have come from a teammate because no one from the organization would say that. So for what it's worth, that just kind of shows you he maybe doesn't have the locker, like he doesn't have his teammates anymore. They don't have his back. But I don't know. That's, again, just rumors. They came out with that. They came out with JB Bickerstaff got bitched out by Kobe Altman one time for load management. It was basically like, you're overplaying Mitchell. Why are you playing him so many minutes? And then the team was pissed off that they blew the game against the Hornets on the end of the year. They were pissed about that. But again, all rumors that came out after the fact.
It's just a very not together team is what it sounds like, basically.
Which is weird because during the season, they have that dog chain or whatever the fuck they call it, junkyard chain.
Yeah.
And they look like they're all best friends. They're all like fucking posing and wearing a huge chain and like they're all having a blast. But then you see all this shit right after the season. You're like, apparently they hated each other. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so you think Allen's gone then? If you're guessing, would you? I mean, if you had to choose though, would you like to keep Allen? Because I thought he.
Oh, I know where I heard it. Sorry,
Oh.
Brian Windhurst.
Oh,
pretty reliable source. So Brian Windhurst is the one who came out and basically said that he thinks Allen and Garland have played their last games as Cavaliers.
Interesting.
So for what it's worth,
if that's the case, then Mobley needs to go shoot up with some THG or whatever, whatever you want to call it, and then get into the gym because he needs to get a little bit bigger and bulkier.
I mean, and that's the other thing too, is when he kind of got called out, he looked pretty fucking good against
against
in the Boston series.
Yeah, I talked so much shit about him. I was like, fuck Mobley, he's horrible. And then he goes on a run of like scoring all those fucking points that one night.
He had his best game as a pro in a playoff game, and I mean the Cavs ended up losing the game, but he still looked. Or no, I'm sorry, that was game 2. I think we won that game where he.
We won that game. That's the game that I thought for sure that we were going to get our ass kicked in.
So that was him out there dominating without Jared Allen. He was able to take over a game, albeit this is where a lot of people get the wool pulled over their eyes, and this is where I look at things from a different perspective. He did it against Boston, who is missing Kristaps Porzingis, who is their 7-footer. Boston has no size. Their center is Al Horford. He's like 6'10".
He's also 65 years old.
Exactly. He is older than Kyle, surprisingly, and he is not even 7 foot. So they don't have a legitimate center out there. And when they did bring out a center, it was Luke Cornett, who's a guy who you're probably sitting at home going, who the fuck is that? And that's exactly what everybody else said. And Luke Cornett was getting rebounds all over the fucking place against the Cavaliers. So
if Porzingis comes back for these playoffs, I think it's over. I think Boston runs with it, but
there's rumors that he should be back by game 4 of this series is the rumor if they need him to. But if they're about to sweep Indiana, like if they're up, 2-1 or even 3-0,
for the finals, yeah,
I would, hold out as long as you can. So we'll see what happens there. But the rumors I'm hearing right now, again, all rumors, a lot of links to the New Orleans Pelicans. There are huge rumors that the Cavs are interested in Brandon Ingram.
That'd be big.
That's potentially where we would end up getting rid of Jared Allen, because if my memory is correct, I think Jonas Valanciunas is a free agent who is the center down there in New Orleans. And Brandon Ingram is making a lot of money, and I think they want to get rid of him. They're basically going to do a full build around with Zion Williamson. So
you mean Zion's not available? We can't go after him? Damn.
I don't want him. I don't need a guy on the team that's not going to play. I'm all set. Brandon Ingram is a name that I've heard linked to the Cavaliers multiple times, so that's something to look out for. He makes a decent amount of money, so he's somebody that we could trade
with him and
Allen
Mitchell
or Garland for.
But do you think he'd fall into the same Garland trap? He'd fall into that second fiddle and not be cohesive, I guess is the question.
No, Ingram's good at that, though. Like, Ingram will basically average like 15 to 20 points. He's going to get some rebounds. He's going to get some assists. He doesn't need to be the number one guy, and that was him in New Orleans. He was not the number one guy. Zion would outscore him all the time. CJ McCollum would outscore him all the time. Brandon Ingram seems like he doesn't really play with an ego. He's just out there to win.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
So that's the rumor that I've heard is Brandon Ingram, something to keep an eye on for the offseason. And then we'll see what happens. But the rumors are
Garland,
Caris LeVert, Darius Garland, and Jared Allen are all potentially going to be moved. More people for sure. Like, don't get me wrong. I bet they would trade Max Strus or George Niang for the right deal in a heartbeat.
Niang just needs to get his ass in shape.
I still don't understand George Niang. George Niang was a pretty consistently decent player for the whole regular season. And then as soon as we got into the playoffs, he became the worst player in basketball by a mile. It didn't make sense to me. Like, he legitimately looked like
he was such a liability on the court.
He looked like he lost his powers to the aliens of Space Jam. Like, he legitimately looked like he went from being a decent, I'm not saying he was good, like great, but he's an NBA player. Like, you got to be pretty talented. He was okay, played all 82 games for the Cavs. He was fine to the point where you couldn't play him. You had to bench him because he was so fucking bad until you had too many injuries where you were forced to play him. So just crazy, mind-boggling shit there with George Niang. He is a guy that, yes, if they could get rid of him, I hope they do, but it's easier said than done because the rest of the league knows he's not very good. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's your quick recap on the Cavaliers. Their season has come to an end. and they do not have a lot of time to think because they have, I think, the 21st overall pick. They do have a first-round pick, and the draft is in about a month, give or take, right after the finals. So are you going to trade that pick? Are you going to make some moves? Are you going to trade players? Are you going to get a new head coach?
Will Nick Gilbert be in attendance?
No, I think he's busy that night. He's a little tied up.
He's a little tied up. Okay, that makes sense. That was for Tim. Too bad he's not listening, but he's there.
Tim would have loved that. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. Cavaliers have an interesting offseason. Apparently, everybody hates each other there. Donovan Mitchell, I've heard he loves it in Cleveland, and him signing an extension is just a matter of if, or a matter of when, not if. And I've heard other rumors that he's gone, he hates it here, whatever. So who knows?
Don't know what to believe.
Yeah, honestly, I have no idea. For me, it's just you got to wait and see. The only thing I don't want to happen is that we trade Darius Garland and then Mitchell ends up still not staying. But I like to think that they would have that all worked out.
Again, then.
Yeah, and then we end up losing both and for nothing. So
I would assume that Mitchell's probably told somebody who's told somebody. It's like, look, I'm here if we make moves and we make these type of moves. I wouldn't doubt it if he's not behind potentially JB being fired too.
Darius Garland wants traded. If Mitchell stays, then I would assume that the Cavaliers have had conversations and have talked to Donovan Mitchell and basically said he wants out if you're staying. If you're going to stay, we need to know so we can trade him. Otherwise, you got to figure some shit out. So I would like to think that that's already been discussed, but who knows at this point? It's the NBA. The players run the league, so they get to make the call. We'll see. Major League Baseball. Wanted to talk a little bit about it. Wanted to talk again. Earlier we talked about the Guardians did sweep the Mets, and they are on like a 6-game win streak, 7-game win streak, whatever the fuck. The only problem is in second place in the Central, the Kansas City Royals. They're on a 6-game win streak. So the Guardians have had this huge hot streak, and it has changed.
Who saw that coming?
Nothing in the standings. So that's unfortunate. When a team goes on a long streak like this, you expect to gain a little, pull ahead a little bit, and it has fucking changed nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
the Guardians are lucky. The Guardians have a West Coast stretch coming up with some shitty teams, and Kansas City, as Steve said, they have a hard stretch coming up. So that could
I didn't see Kansas City being this good. I honestly didn't see this happening.
Bobby Witt Jr. is fucking legit. I knew he was going to be a good player, but god damn is he better than I expected. He's already able to carry a franchise. That's fucking nuts. But no, the Royals have been playing fantastic baseball, but baseball's a long season.
How are your bets? Have you been betting baseball at all?
Yeah.
What do you normally bet when you bet baseball?
Over 1.5 total bases and pitcher Ks are my favorite bets for baseball.
So when you do pitcher Ks, do you go by their preset over under, or do you do your alternative strikeouts?
Depends on the pitcher. I usually just do their preset one.
Okay.
I just go off of an average. I kind of look at teams offensively. For instance, the Guardians. Guardians are a good team, but they strike out a lot. So taking a pitcher for depending on what it says, if it's 4.5, 5.5, probably not a bad idea to do against the Guardians. We don't score a lot of runs, so or they do score some runs, but they don't dominate. They don't get huge leads. They'll score a run an inning kind of deal. So a pitcher can have longevity in a game. We're not going to have a 6-run inning where you got to pull a guy in the third. Guardians don't really do that. So you're pretty safe with a starter to go deep into a game against the Guardians. For instance, today against the Mets, their pitcher was in the fucking 6th inning, and he was averaging 10 pitches an inning. So he wasn't exerting himself. He wasn't in any danger to get pulled until he started giving up some runs. So it could be for any team. Just look at teams like the Rockies. The Rockies are the worst team in baseball by far. They're a team that's probably striking out a ton. I don't know their numbers off the top of my head, but if there's a good pitcher going against that lineup, I would go, yeah, I'll take the over on strikeouts. Most fun bets are under 5 runs first inning, or under half run. I'm sorry. Usually pays $5, pays out
for a 5-legger.
Do a 5-leg parlay of basically
usually pays out
no one scoring. And yeah, that's a good one too, Steve, because a lot of teams don't score in the first. I actually did a bet the other day, and I didn't pay attention to it. I thought I was taking a bet that said no one would score. I thought I was doing the under half run, and I ended up clicking tie, and it was a Guardians game. And first pitch of the game, we gave up a home run. I think it was against the Tigers a few weeks ago. First pitch of the game, we gave up a home run. I'm like, motherfucker, I bet under 1 run. They already scored. There goes that bet. Guardians come up to bat. Guardians score a run. It's 1-1. The inning ends, and I'm like, damn it, I lost that bet. I had no runs. They end up scoring 2. Little did I know, I clicked just the game would be tied, so I still won the bet. And I had no fucking idea until I opened up my account.
When you think about it, it's almost, isn't it smarter to? I'm sure the odds are a little better for the under half run, but if you think about it, you play tie. It's the same as betting if no one scores. If no one scores, right? So
right. I just didn't even know what I clicked. I thought I did 0 runs, but I clicked tie, and I won the bet 1-1. That's a tie.
yeah, I've been doing the strikeouts too. Like I'll go through and maybe build like a parlay, maybe 5 games and choose the over under for pitchers. I tend not to pick same pictures in the same game. I don't know why. For some reason, when I do that, I just don't have good luck with it. So I'll just pick 5 random games and go with the best odds and want someone and see what the matchups are and try to pick it. I've won a couple times on it, nothing big, but some small bets. I also did hits too. I'll do a combined where I'll pick a pitcher to have an under or over, and I'll do like a hit on like the best player, someone who's streaky, and pick them to get a hit. And that's worked a couple times too. But yeah, so that's usually what I focus on for baseball.
So like I said, I do the total bases because you damn near can get even money. So for instance, Luis Ariaza or Arraez, Luis Arraez from the Padres, I had him today. He was my bet. There's a guy that I follow who posts different picks of the day. Today he had Luis Arraez, and he had him at over 1.5 bases. Said this guy's been on a tear. He's been going over this stat line like 6 out of the last 7 games. He's been hitting the ball really well. So I bet him minus 120. So for shits and giggles, just have some fun. I threw $10 on it. He has currently in the 8th inning 6 total bases. He went well over his 1.5. So the over under for bases hits pretty often. Last night I did the same thing. I did Matt Chapman from the San Francisco Giants. Had him over 1.5. He hit a double in like the 5th inning. Boom. There's your 2 bases.
You're doing these as one off. You're not combining them and doing a parlay with him. You're just doing one off.
Parlays are sucker bets. I've come to the realization. That's why I do the lottery ticket ones. But if you're adding more than like 2 legs on a bet, the odds of it hitting are so fucking slim. The odds of 1 bet hitting are hard enough, but then trying to get 2, 3, 4, 5, I've just come to the realization that those lose so often. That's what they want you to do. The gambling apps want you to look at that plus sign or that plus number and go, oh, I could hit that. And then you miss by 1. Like last night, I hit those. Don't get me wrong. I hit some fucking long leg parlays. I know I sound like I'm backtracking here, but I got lucky. I hit that one bet that was plus 4,500. I hit the other bet that was plus 1,100. And I had some other ones that were like plus 2,000, whatever. And I missed them by 1 stat, each one. Like one of them was I needed Jason Tatum to get 5 assists. He was the only one that I missed. That fucking dude had 4 assists before halftime. Never got another assist. I only needed him to get 5. And he cost me like multiple bets yesterday. So it's just little things like that of like, you look at it when you click it to put it into your app, you go, that's a fucking lock. There's no way Jason Tatum doesn't get 6 assists today. And then they end at 4. And you're like, what the fuck? Yeah. So for me, parlays are I don't get me wrong. There's guys out there that know what they're doing and they hit. It's awesome when they hit. They're fun. I still do them, even though I do.
I hate looking at the ones that hit. Like I saw the one yesterday on the Boston game. The $10 to win $11,000 because it was like a plus 45,000 or something like that. Yeah. And the only one part of that parlay, it was a 19 legger, I think, and the only one he sweated on was what's his face getting a 6th rebound. The old dude, I forget his name now. I'm having a brain fart. Horford, yeah, he needed 6 rebounds and he barely got 6 rebounds, right? But it's one of the things you're sweating on it. But yeah, $10, you won 11,000. That'd be fucking nice every once in a while, wouldn't it? But that's what I mean.
My cousin's boyfriend, he pays for a Discord, and he's using that information to make bets. And when they hit, it's fucking awesome because he hit one a couple of weeks ago that he made a $6 bet and it won him $1,800.
Wow,
he hit it. Then the other part of it though are the ones that you lose. He had another like $10 bet that would have won him, I think, $1,500. He had 4 guys to score 25 points on Sunday. 2 in the Pacers-Knicks game, 2 in the Nuggets-Timberwolves game. Karl-Anthony Towns had 23 points. If Karl-Anthony Towns would have scored 25 points, he would have won $1,500. Meanwhile, they offered him a payout. I think it was a $5 bet. I'm sorry. So it was a $5 bet. They offered him a payout at one point for $800. And I texted him right away and I said, take the payout. Just take it. I'm like, it's a $5 bet. You're still walking out with $800 instead of, $1,200 or whatever the fuck. I forgot what he would have won. And he went. Karl-Anthony Towns ended the game at 23 points. He missed out on all that money. So there are ones where again, there's sucker bets.
Did you text them and be like, told you?
Oh, 100%. I'm like, dude, like take the fucking cash out when you have a little bet like that. But he let it ride.
That's funny.
It's awesome when they hit, but then you're on the edge of your seat. They're stressful. So doing the individual bets, you're not making life-changing money. But again, Luis Arias today, I bet for $10 at -120. So I won like $8 because he had more than 2 bases. So it's not killer money, but for me, it's just fun.
Yeah, but if you hit like
bankroll.
5 or 6 of those, then you are up, $30 in a day, right? And you only spent $4, right? That's profit.
Yeah, that's all I do. I'm cheap. That's why, again, those bets I hit yesterday at plus 4,500. Had I been one of these degenerates that puts $200 down on a bet, I'd be probably sitting in Disney World right now because I'd have a little extra money in the bank. Instead, I bet $1.50 and it won me 70. So it's cool. I got $70. I cashed some of it out. I left some of it in my account and I made more bets today. But I'm just not a huge big money guy, and I'm also not naive enough to think that like, oh yeah, this plus 20,000 something bet is going to hit, so I'm only going to put $1 on it. Like, I don't know. It's so fucking hard, and they're not predictable. They are very, very tough. Come to Vegas with us for the Browns. I heard that's expensive as fuck, Steve. Speaking of that, what a great segue.
If you hear dogs in the background, there's a storm running through, and their dogs are going crazy right now. So
that happens. I just thought they were big Browns fans. That's why they were barking.
Well, I do like getting shy going on Browns days to start barking. Steve
starts talking about the Browns, and we got dogs barking in the background. It was kind of perfect. So the Browns schedule came out. We were going to do the schedule game, but I don't really think we're going to have time for it, if I'm being honest. We're already kind of up against it. So we'll save that for next week because now we're a weekly show, and we're going to have plenty of time to talk about it. The schedule doesn't change. The season comes in September, so we have plenty of time to talk about the schedule game. Browns did get a few primetime games. The first one we'll talk about really quickly. Browns fans are spoiled with prices. 2 tickets to the game were $4.92 each. That's actually not that bad. Not bad at all. Excuse me. George, your hard work will be much appreciated next week. I don't think it's a time-sensitive thing that you did unless George is going to hop on here and do like a cool Browns schedule release dance that he had been practicing all week. Other than that, I think we're all right. We can save it. But $4.92 is not terrible. I also I don't like Vegas. I went there once. I hated it. The stadium looks really cool, so I definitely would be interested in going just to see that.
I got a co-host here, so sorry.
Hey, no problem. George, we're still doing just a tip. That's definitely happening. That always comes with like the last 5 minutes or so. Sorry guys, we have a private chat, and I break the fourth wall all the time. I'm not afraid to let you guys know. We'll definitely talk about that. The first game of the year, pretty exciting. We have the America's Game of the Week, the 4:30 game on Fox. Cleveland Browns host the Dallas Cowboys. Tom Brady's first game ever doing play-by-play.
It's a big deal, right? I mean,
up in the box, huge. And for the record, I've always come on here and talk shit about Tom Brady. I've never liked him. I think he's a cheater. I think he gets a bunch of plastic surgery done. I literally think he's a robot, if I'm being honest. He came out and did a little interview, and they asked him about his first game. And are you excited to do your first game? And you get to do the Browns versus the Cowboys, whatever. And all he talked about were the fucking Cowboys. He's like, oh yeah, Dak Prescott, Cowboys are coming off a 12-win season, and they've got Micah Parsons, blah blah blah. That was it. Didn't mention the fucking Browns at all. It's like the Cowboys were playing themselves in a practice the way he talked, and that makes me so fucking mad. It makes me want hope. Fingers crossed. Obviously, I want the Browns to win every week, but this week specifically, game 1, I want them to come out and show the world that they're fucking legit. I want to punch the Cowboys in the mouth. I want Tom Brady to only be able to talk about the fucking Browns that game. But we have 6 months to continue to talk about that.
How do you think he's going to do on commentary, though? Like, you think he's going to be pretty smooth, No, okay.
He's a very unfunny robot. I think he's going to suck, honestly. I don't think he's going to be good at all.
Better than Tony Romo or on par with Tony Romo?
That's not hard. Tony Romo sucks. I hate Tony Romo also. these ex players are not always good. Yes, they were good football players. Doesn't mean it's gonna put you over. Pick'em game over under 44. Yeah, that's about right. The spreads changed. I think when it first came out. I mean, again, it's May. Anything can happen. The Browns were a 1.5 point favorite. Then I looked at like a week later, and the Browns were a 1.5 point underdog. So it's been fluctuating, but again, for me as a Browns fan, that's really good to see that they're putting us in a pick'em against arguably the best team in the NFC. So pretty cool stuff. I am happy about that. So we will talk about the Browns schedule game, or not the schedule game. I don't do the schedule game because yes, you could go over and you could look at last year's teams and you're like, oh shit, like, okay, we play the Chargers this year. And you go, yeah, the Chargers sucked last year. But it's a totally different year. They have a new head coach. They have Justin Herbert back. They've got new players. Who knows what they're going to look like? So the NFL is, I know the Browns proved this otherwise, but the NFL is basically created for teams to have quick turnarounds. The NFL doesn't want you to suck for a long time. They want you to suck for a year or two and then turn it around. The Browns are one of the only teams that could not figure that out.
And the Lions for a while, but yeah.
And the Lions too, for sure. So you do have teams that, again, if you look around, there were some teams that had number 1 overall picks. Like look at the Colts with Andrew Luck. Colts were a horrible team, worst team in football. They get Andrew Luck, boom, they're a playoff team. They're a Super Bowl contender. That's all it really takes. The NFL wants you to be able to turn it around. So we'll see what happens with the season, because again, you can look at the schedule and all you can do is base off of last year. And there were teams that we played this year who I thought would be a game that we'd roll over and get killed, and we won, and vice versa. There were teams that I thought we should dominate this team and we kind of struggle, whatever. Even look at the Colts game last year. We played Gardner Minshew. You're playing a backup. You're playing a team that just had a top 5 draft pick. They're not very good. You should be able to dominate them. Luckily, Myles Garrett took over that game. Otherwise, we would have lost that game. We went to Seattle. The Browns were a playoff team. Seattle was not. We should have beaten them. I get it. We had PJ Walker at quarterback, but still, we ended up losing. So there's games like that where you're like, okay, this team sucks, but they still beat us.
There's teams you think that are going to be good, but there's teams that are just question marks. And we have a couple of question marks. So we don't know who they're going to be, this year, which is, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. I mean, we'll go over the schedule. We can predict what we think the record will be. But again, it's so fucking early too that, injuries happen. Who knows? You could see it. We play the Eagles this year. Eagles are projected to be one of the best teams in the NFC, I'm sure. But then it's like, okay, Jalen Hurts could get hurt or, whatever. Anything could happen. So we'll see what happens. But we'll go over the schedule game by game next week just to get you guys all up to speed. I'm sure everybody that watches this show has already seen it, but it is what it is. That's what sports shows do. If you're doing a show, you have to do a schedule game. It's inevitable. That's pretty much it. Really quickly, 2026 NFL draft. The NFL has announced it will be in Schittsburg. So
only a hop, skip, and a jump away.
Interesting. Yeah, it's quick. Pittsburgh's an hour and a half away from here in Cleveland.
You got to keep your theory up, your thing up of taking somebody who's a fan of the team with you to the draft.
No, that doesn't happen in Pittsburgh. No, that's not it. I'd rather throw it away than take a Pittsburgh fan. Again, when there are people out there of teams that I hate, I don't want you to experience happiness, and that even includes your day-to-day life, not even just football related. So knowing I took you to a draft, I know people would be so happy that are Steeler fans. They would love the experience. But for me, I can go, just not going to take them. I don't want you to experience that. So we'll see what happens. I know a lot of Steeler fans, and I know that they could, I'm going to have to do some sort of bidding war and let them kind of win me over. And I do accept bribes. I am very easy to win over if you just want to, provide me with some gifts and services and goods, and we'll see. We can make a trade.
If a day opens up and then 2 years from now, I wouldn't mind going to one of those days. It'd be kind of fun to go back to the draft. That was a really good time.
Yeah, I'll see what happens. They just announced it today or yesterday or whatever, so I haven't even had a chance to talk to my buddies about who plans I'm going. I know
Pittsburgh of all places, though. Wow.
We talked a little bit about it last episode, but next year's draft is in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and right now you can't book hotels, and I haven't looked in a couple of weeks, but people on Airbnbs were basically trying to rate people, and if I can't find a decent, reasonable rate to stay somewhere and have a good time, then it's not worth going. So we'll see what happens. I know my friends, they don't want to go to Green Bay. They want to go to Key West. And Pittsburgh, more than likely, is probably another city that they're not going to want to go to because I've been to Pittsburgh a few times and it's nice. It's nice enough.
Bunch of one-way street and hills. It's not very fun.
Yeah. The highway is completely fucking ass backwards. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I digress. We talk about this more next week. Again, people, if you're a Steelers fan, you've got about a week to win me over. And with that being said, we have reached just the tip. Kyle, as always, start us off because we are up against it. We do have to be professional and punctual.
Well, I'll be quick. My tip is an old school tip, and this came because on our car ride back from Louisville last week, we was just me, Jose, Dave, and Jory, and we had a conversation of his movies. We named an actor and we named their best movies. And we went around the horn and named a lot of actors, and Robert Redford came up. And I think one of Robert Redford's best movies, in my opinion, is The Last Castle. The Last Castle is a movie with James Gandolfini. If you've seen it before, I don't know if you have or not. Great movie. I just rewatched it again yesterday.
I've actually never heard of it.
Oh, it's a good movie. So I mean, the synopsis is basic that it's a military prison. This 3 or 4 star general gets court-martialed for something he shouldn't have done, and he goes to this prison to serve a 10-year sentence. When he gets there, he realizes that basically the prison's being ran by a very corrupt individual who abuses, kills, and all these other things that happen. And then makes this plan to basically overtake the castle, which they call is the prison, right? Great movie, good story. So if you get a chance and you like older movies like that, give it a watch. It was made in 2001, so it's not like it's old, but I mean, it's 24, 25 years now, but still a good movie to watch. Watched it again yesterday, still holds up. So that's my tip of the week is The Last Castle.
Interesting. When you sent the picture over, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't look into it. And I just kind of assumed that it was like some new show that I had never heard of. So I was like, maybe Kyle will win me over on it.
It's an old school movie, but yeah, it's definitely worth a watch.
Okay. I will definitely look into it. My tip this week is a movie, Abigail. It is a kind of under the radar. I won't even say low budget, but just like
I want to watch this. I told Jess about it.
A huge release. It was a theatrical release. It had a couple trailers and commercials, but of course nowadays going to the movies is kind of a thing of the past, which we can talk about that another time too, why that's happening. But movies just aren't doing that well. I know there were people bitching about that Ryan Gosling movie, The Fall Guy, that just came out recently. That one's already out on demand basically because it did so terribly in the theaters. I saw The Strangers.
I had high hopes for that. The Fall
I'll watch it. It's not one that I would spend money on to go see in the theater. And I think that's kind of where we're at. Is there's just not movies that are worth people's time. Like
I think the next one I'm going to pay money to go watch is going to be Deadpool and Wolverine. That'd be the
same
one.
With me, honestly. Like I was really excited for The Strangers Chapter 1 that just came out over the weekend. I love the original. I have them tattooed on me. I love
over your shoulder.
Yeah, I've got the mask in my house. I love the Strangers movie, the original. Then they came out with a sequel, Pray at Night. It just got a little out there. It was decent. It had the same type of concept, but it just wasn't as good by any stretch. Then they came out with the Chapter 1. It was awful. And I was like, man, that sucks. Like I was really looking forward to that being good. But then I think about it, I'm like, okay, but I watched Abigail and horror's not dead. The horror genre is still coming out with decent movies. Basically, long story short of this one, a girl gets kidnapped and her dad is some like drug lord, whatever. They're kidnapping her for ransom money. They're given a specific set of instructions on how to behave with her because she's a handful and nobody listens. They all disregard all of the warnings that they were given and they pay the price. Abigail is not this little girl that she portrays. She is a little more sinister. And overall, it was pretty good. There's a little bit, you could tell it's not a high budget movie. There were no superstar actors in it. I think Giancarlo Esposito, however you say his last name, the dude from Breaking Bad and all that, he was the biggest name in the movie. Everybody else, you'd probably be like, oh, I think I recognize him, but you don't know their name, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So it didn't have a huge cast. I think some of the dialogue was a little annoying at times. There's one guy who I swear to God says the word fuck in like every sentence. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for swearing, but the way he was doing it was just annoying and was like, they're overdoing it. Like whoever wrote this script should have heard that and said like, let's cut a couple of those out. But whatever. Overall, that was a fun movie. Gory, had some cool shit in it. It's essentially a vampire movie. So definitely check it out. support horror movies. This one was definitely worth a watch. So, like you said, if you and Jess are interested in watching it, that's one that I would definitely recommend.
Where can you watch it at? I mean, because I don't.
I pirated it,
yeah.
so I had to go on one of my illegal streaming sites.
It's on demand though, I think, right? If
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm sure it's on Amazon for you to rent or buy or whatever, but I found it on a streaming site. So
awesome.
Check out Abigail. We will be back next week to talk more about the Browns, talk more about the NBA playoffs, and God knows what else. So we will see you guys all in 1 week. Be safe out there. Take it easy. Maybe by next week we'll find out about the Cavs coach. Who knows? Got anything else, Kyle?
Nothing else, my friend. We will talk next week.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you all next week. Cleveland, that was for you.